Welcome to another live stream of mine, Faisal Milenkovic, your host. For those who are new and don't know what this is about, I'm in marketing, run an agency, been in the field for many, many years already. Before that, I was in business development for charities and so on. This is one of my live streams where I go through news, stuff, research papers that are in the broad field of business and especially marketing, from SEO, websites, over social media, content creation, email marketing, and so on. Because in my job, I need to be on, on the most fresh information possible to know all the trends and all of the different stuff that's going on. I tend to go through the news and everything. And I thought it would be a nice idea for me to do that online during a live stream so that I can give additional information, allow people to ask, to talk, to ask for more information, deep dives into the stuff for those who are new, mostly for solopreneurs and SMBs. So if you want information, a bit of help and everything online, feel free. We're going to jump right into it because I want to go through a few articles before I switch to the mode where I just work. And with that, we're going to go right in. So we're going to start with this one. Everything working? Nice. You can hear me? Nice. The chat is not visible for you guys, but it is visible for me. So it's open. Feel free to say hi. Feel free to give information, ask anything you want. As usual, I love talking to you guys. And with that, I'll jump right into it. Let's start. Da-da-da-da-da. No. First article of the day today. We're going with Ahrefs, SEO versus GEO, 5 key differences despite the similarities. Written by Mateusz Makosiewicz. I hope I didn't butcher that name and that it was correct. We'll go right through with it. Text is big enough for you to see on the stream? Yeah, I think it works well. All right, let's get into it. In 30 seconds, here's what you need to know about the differences between SEO and GEO. SEO, search engine optimization, getting your website to show up in Google searches. Goal, get people to click your link. I would say it's not just to be in Google searches, but to be ranked high in the search results. GEO, generative engine optimization, is getting AI chatbots like ChatGPT to mention your brand or information. Goal, get AI to quote and mention you. True. Best with even links. Main differences: SEO brings visitors to your website. GEO puts your brand or content directly in AI answers. No click needed. SEO brings high volume traffic that explores your site. GEO will bring less traffic to your site directly, but these visitors may be more likely to convert. Okay, there is something that I want to add on, but let's see if they mention it there on their own or not. What to do? Start with good SEO, it's still essential. Then add GEO tactics like including more original data, keeping your most important content up to date, or getting your brand mentioned more across the web. Bottom line, you need both. Think of SEO as your foundation and GEO as future-proofing your online presence. Want the full story? Read on. Content, what is SEO, what is GEO, key differences, yeah. There. What is SEO? As you probably already know, search engine optimization, SEO, is the practice of improving your website so it appears higher in Google, Bing, or other search engine results when people search for topics related to your business. The goal? Get people to click on your link in the SERPs and visit your website. SERPs, search engine result page. That's a page where you get all the results whenever you Google or search for something. How search engines work? Search engines work in 3 main steps. Crawling. The programs called web crawlers or spiders browse the internet, following links and collecting web pages. 2. Indexing. The collected pages are analyzed and stored in a massive database called search index. 3. Ranking. When you type in a search, the engine looks through the index and uses an algorithm to sort the results, showing the most relevant pages first. In short, when you search for something, The search engine scans its index for matches, ranks them by relevance, and then shows you the best results on the search engine results page. SERP. AI search works differently. More on that in a bit. Query, what you look for. It goes through the database where it has all the ranking. It gives you the SERPs for whatever you were searching for, and the user clicks on it. All right. Let's get to the next. Just have to sometimes clean up the chats and everything. Key SEO strategies. In practice, SEO is about using the right keywords, creating helpful content, earning trusted links, and making sure your site is fast, safe, and easy to use. Here are the core strategies. Keywords research. Finding and using the words and phrases your customers actually search for. On-page SEO. Creating helpful, detailed information that answers search intent. Off-page SEO. Getting other reputable websites to link to yours. Reputable in this sense is Google or all of those search engines rank pages and domains like, is this a good site? Are they trustworthy or not? And all of that. And the more other trustworthy pages link back to yours, the better you stand in their indexing. Technical SEO, making your site free from critical SEO errors, mostly making your site easy for search engines to crawl, safe for users, simple to navigate, fast to load, and mobile friendly. And here, a lot of designers, web designers and everything really mess up a lot. You should take a look at my other videos about this topic especially. In this year, I've audited over 250, 300 websites, and like 98% had major flaws in that area. What is GEO? GEO, short for Generative Engine Optimization, also known as AEO or LLMO. AEO is artificial intelligence, and LLMO is for large language models. All of that just means AI. Is the process of getting your brand mentioned, cited, and accurately represented in AI-generated answers. That includes results from AI assistants like ChatGPT, Google's AI overviews, and Google's AI mode. In other words, GEO is SEO for AI research. For AI search. How AI search works. With ChatGPT, the way it responds depends on whether it uses web browsing, also called grounding, to find the answers. No browsing, it generates answers from patterns it learned during training. It doesn't pull from a live product database, just from its frozen knowledge, up to August 2023. This again changes again and again depending on what kind of model you have and what they trained on and so on. It's also not just ChatGPT, all the different tools nowadays from Gemini to Perplexity and so on, they have slightly different timings. With browsing, it searches the web, picks useful pages, and summarizes them so the answer is based on fresh information. Key GEO tactics. All of these are covered in detail in our GEO guide, but here's the quick version. Third-party mentions. Get your brand mentioned across industry sites, best of lists, and review platforms. Most AI citations come from other sites, not yours. AI preferred content. Create how-to guides, comparison pages, X versus Y, data studies, and best of lists. These get the highest AI traffic. Facts and statistics. Include specific, verifiable numbers and data that AI can confidently cite. Multi-platform presence. Build visibility on YouTube, second most cited by AI overviews, and Reddit, third most cited. Structured information. Use clear headings, Q&A formats, bullet points, and schema markup for machine readability. Fresh content. Keep information updated regularly. AI prefers citing newer content over older pages. I've got 1 or 2 videos about that too on the YouTube page. Key differences between SEO and GEO. The key difference between SEO and GEO comes from how the search experience works. With AI answers, users don't need to click links as often, but when they do, it's usually because they want a deeper understanding or are ready to try the product the AI recommended. That in turn creates a different set of metrics to track. SEO gives you a link, GEO gives you a mention. In SEO, your website appears as a link in search results. For example, keyword research, and then you have here, for example, this page as a link that can be clicked. In GEO, your information or brand appears directly inside the AI's answers. For example, ChatGPT, some question, blah, 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 and then it lists use keyword research tools. And here are then a few mentioned. It can also be that the AI and the LLM link to your website directly. It's pretty common, just saying. So you can get the link directly in the AI too. If links appear in AI-generated answers, they are far less visible and redundant from the perspective of users who wanted a quick answer. In AI overviews, they can appear contextually with a small link icon next to a term on the right-hand panel or at the very bottom. For example, here you have the AI overview from Google, the whole blah, blah, blah. And then here are the links that can be clicked. In SEO, the journey depends on clicks. In GEO, it often ends with zero-click searches. In SEO, the user journey typically looks like this. They search for something, see your link, click to your website, and read your content. Typical example, let me delve a bit deeper into this. Typical example, I'm a new business owner and I'm curious about what is influencer marketing, for example. And then I have a lot of agencies and a lot of pages that are like, hey, 101 and beginner's guide to influencer marketing. And so you click on their pages and you read a lot about it, and maybe you take their agency or not, or you read other pages and so on. In AI, you just get the results. You get the whole explanation directly in the AI, so there are way, way, way less clicks. In GEO, the journey is different. The user asks a question, the AI provides an answer using your information, and the user may never visit your site at all, at least not directly from the AI answer. This is called a zero-click search. Pew Research Center recently studied how searchers interact with Google's AI overviews, proving the zero-click phenomenon. I think it was like, no, they got the number underneath anyway. They found that users click on search results only 8% of the time when AI summaries appear versus 15% without them. That's nearly 50% fewer clicks. Only 1% of users click on sources cited in the AI summary itself. What's more, 26% of users end their session completely after seeing an AI summary, versus 16% for traditional search. Here's an important thing though. These 1% of users who do click on the link are extremely, extremely valuable. Here we've got a few more values. Google users are less likely to click on a link when they encounter search pages with AI summaries, absolutely, especially for low intent searches. Like, what is influencer marketing? That is a low intent. I'm not directly looking to buy something. But if I go for influencer marketing agency Vienna or best influencer marketing agency in New York, then it becomes a completely different game, because that is a high intent search. Usually I only search for that when I want to hire someone directly or like buy something or whatever. SEO is about measuring clicks, GEO is about measuring visibility. Success in SEO is measured with metrics like keyword ranking, backlinks, organic traffic, and organic share of voice. This is part of the click economics, because your results depend on convincing people to click through to your site. By contrast, success in GEO is measured with metrics like brand mentions in AI answers, citations when your content is referenced, AI referrer traffic, and AI share of voice. This is visibility economics, where the more often your brand appears in AI responses, the more likely users are to trust and choose you, even if they never click. Easy. If the AI keeps mentioning your brand again and again and again, well, kind of a given that they will trust your brand more than the others. Here's what a GEO dashboard looks like, a screenshot from Ahrefs Brand Radar. The core difference is that there are no keyword rankings. Instead, you see how popular a brand is within a specific AI's responses and how that popularity changes over time. Like for example, AI overviews, they test how they work is they take a big broad array of different queries and then check how often are you mentioned for all kinds of different queries. 4. In GEO, third-party sites usually carry your brand mentions more than your own domain. Another key difference is where mentions come from. In SEO, your own site is the primary asset. You optimize your pages to rank as links in search results. In GEO, however, most brand mentions in AI responses originate from third-party sites rather than your own domain. For this reason, GEO may turn out to be a more interdisciplinary effort than SEO, requiring, for example, PR and influencer marketing. Industry rankings, which has been a very good thing for SEO too already. Like, don't forget that. Also, I want to add something. Let's see if they mention it or not. Gonna mention it soon. Industry rankings, best of lists, review platforms, PR coverage, and customer case studies often dominate as the top sources AI assistants rely on. For example, in Google's AI overviews, the top pages mentioning Ahrefs didn't include ahrefs.com at all. Like there, it's not mentioned. As you can see, all the other. These mentions don't even need to be linked. AI can pick up unlinked references just as easily. This makes broad visibility across the web more important than ever. And it's a big difference to the backlinks game that we've had. For example, I've had with my agency, I've been named a few times, for example, when we won awards, won a national award for a media campaign, and the public relation pages did not link back to my website. Annoying to me, but I did not benefit from that in the backlink way. But with AI, it's going to scrape the page anyway, take my name, and still understand, okay, this is this agency. To find sites that often appear in AI answers, just plug the domain. Okay, it's a bit of a self-plug for their tools, which is fair game. To find sites that often appear in AI answers, just plug the domain in Ahrefs Site Explorer and look at the AI citation count in the overview report. Yeah. 5. SEO tends to bring browsing, while GEO tends to bring intent. Traffic from AI search looks different from traditional organic search. Visitors from AI tend to view few pages, 4 versus 5.2, but spend slightly more time on them, 86 seconds versus 78 seconds. They also have a higher bounce rate, 67% versus 63%, suggesting they arrive with a clear, specific goal. I've got to admit, it's still, when I read these statistics, that these little percentages are such big game changers for companies is still insane to me. AI search also drives users to homepages, product pages, and tools more often than organic search, while organic search brings more traffic to international pages. Percentage of visitors by page type from AI assistants. Let's see. There. So you get to see it, I hope. Well, blog homepage, data study, the biggest chunk. Free tool. AI loves it. People really, really like to click on the links for tools, for stuff that is a solution, less for general information. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. This back. Most importantly, this is better. Most importantly, AI traffic can convert at a much higher rate. In the case of Ahrefs, it was 23 times more than organic search. Despite being just 0.5% of traffic, it generates over 12% of signups. That said, conversion rates will vary by site. As this recent study from AMSIF shows, not every website sees the same uplift from LLM-driven traffic. Now, let's go to the key similarities between SEO and GEO. Despite the differences, SEO and GEO share important common ground based on content quality and brand authority. Great content is your best bet. Both SEO and GEO depend on having useful content, which builds topical authority. At the end of the day, search engines and the AI tools are designed to bring people the information they're looking for. Right. The key difference is in how the answer is delivered. Search engines point you to links, while AI often gives you the answer directly. Case in point, Ahrefs content and product pages were mentioned 7,400 times across 2,300 pages without any special effort to optimize for AI. That's because new search technologies still rely on the same foundation, quality and useful content. But I hope they mention it. I hope they do mention about how much all of them still rely on search. We'll see. It's all about user intent. Both strategies focus on understanding what people are really looking for and providing the best answer, the search intent. Whether someone searches Google for best project management software or asks ChatGPT something more specific, like what's the best project management tool for a team of 30 under $50, the intent doesn't change. They're looking for the top options, the reasons behind those recommendations, and a clear comparison to help them. This, though, is the big game changer, because before you wanted to get in as many people as possible. The query in like Google or any search engine was this example, best project management software. And then you as the user were going through all of it. Nowadays with AI, this is the way. You don't even ask what's the best project management tool. You talk to the AI and give it a lot of context. Like, okay, we are a team of 5 people. We've tried this. We're bad at this. We are very creative, but we're bad at organizing. What are good tools for us to use that are cheap? And now AI scrapes a lot of data and analyzes. And here is the key difference. It can give you very, very, very specific answers to your intent, to your situation, something that Google didn't have. And now this is where we can win a lot with how we set our pages up. Do I have a generic, oh, I'm a marketing agency, or do I explain in detail, long form format? Hey, here's what I do, here are the pros, here are the cons, here's my perfect client, here's what we are supposed to do for whom. Are we a Fortune 500 company, or is it like a little mom and pop shop? Is it better to do this? Are we sustainable? Are we quick? Are we creative? Are we all of these information for who am I best to work with and who are my best clients and who can I help the most can now be analyzed by the AI. And if you have that, it will pick you because you have more specific information and a more specific solution for the person that was asking these things in the AI tool in the chat. Tip, use Ahrefs AI content template to take the guesswork. Okay, self-plug, cool. As usual, I will leave the link to the article below in the description. Trust and reputation matter equally for SEO and GEO. Yep. Google search and AI assistants both rely on outside content. They don't generate answers out of thin air. That means they face the same challenge, deciding which sources to trust. This is where your reputation as an expert becomes valuable for both SEO and GEO. Just like in traditional SEO, brand authority is a major factor in GEO. Branded mentions across the web show a strong connection to visibility in AI overviews, correlation of 0.664. Furthermore, brands in the top 25% for web mentions earn over 10 times more AI overview placements than the next tier down. This is again, winner takes all. I'm telling you, winner takes all. It's extremely important to do your best. I tend to use the example of horse racing. The first place in the horse race gets like $150,000. The second place only gets $10,000. Has the first place been 10 times faster? No, they might have just been a few inches faster. But that little bit of better performance has a huge exponential outcome, like benefit. So the same applies for your websites, for your marketing, for your products, for your content. Just being 1%, a half percent better than the others can lead to exponential results of being mentioned 10 times more often. Okay, that's why it's important to always get better. Factors that correlate with brand appearance in AI overviews. Based on a study of 75,000 brands, source Ahrefs Brand Radar and Ahrefs Site Explorer. Branded web mentions, and that's a correlation. Branded anchors, great. Branded search volume, DR, that's domain rating. Numbers of reference domains, branded traffic, number of backlinks, ad traffic, ad cost, URL rating, number of site pages. Spearman correlation. Okay, and that's not just true for AI overviews. AI assistants also lean heavily on well-known sources. The main difference is that they tend to cite a slightly different set of sites. Overlap of the top 50 most cited brands in AI assistants and ChatGPT. ChatGPT, Google AI overview, and down here is Perplexity. There. So I hope you guys can see it. Mentioned by all: Microsoft, Wikipedia, Amazon, Google, Apple, Google AI overviews, India Times, ChatGPT, and Flexi Business Insider. Here you can see all the different kind of the cited brands, those who are mentioned most often. Interesting that the different sources mention different things more often. Continue. Simply put, the more people talk about your brand online, the more likely AI is to feature you. Of course. Also, yeah, I think even if they mention it, they haven't mentioned it now long enough. I want to share with you. Also, it's extremely important how well you are placed in search. It's extremely important because how you're placed in search is how you get these results. For example, I put something into the AI query, ask ChatGPT or a bot or an LLM something, and it queries the internet. It doesn't just create one query, it creates like 10, 15 different queries. You can download plugins to see that, even for ChatGPT, for example. So I type in best shoes 2025. And then it checks, okay, best shoes for men 2025, best shoes for runners 2025, best shoes for whatever, most sustainable shoes. And it takes 10, 15, who knows how many different queries, checks the search results for all of these queries, and then calculates, okay, which brand is mentioned more often in more of these different queries and weights those, and then gives. So maybe you're not number one in any of them, but you're number 3 in this query, and number 4 in this query, and number 2 in this query, and number 6 in this query, and the other aren't mentioned as often. So the AI decides, I will still pick this one because it is the most weighted, has the best information about this topic in general, or the best ratings and so on. Just so you know, it's still very heavily leaning on the search result pages. Now, 4, your website still needs to work properly. Search engines and AI assistants still rely on crawlers to fetch and process pages. AI struggles with heavy JavaScript, but it typically respects robots.txt rules. If they can't access or interpret your content correctly, neither SEO nor GEO will work. Another idea that many have had was a new standard for LLMs.txt. You can look, I've got a video explaining the difference on my YouTube channel. Just giving difference LLM and robot.txt. Tip, keep your site in good SEO health. Yeah, with site audit, again, another tool of theirs. But it's important, really important. Many devs, many agencies, many web designers don't care about it. Well, many web devs don't care about the design. So you often have a bit of lost potential in this area. Really, it's good if you take it from the foundational step and not have someone do your website and then go to someone else for SEO. It's better if you get someone who's got expertise in both fields, best in all design, development, and SEO, to have one good, well-made page. SEO or GEO? Start with SEO, then layer in GEO. Yeah. Think of SEO as your foundation and GEO as the upgrade. You need SEO first because it's established, drives most web traffic, and provides the base that AI systems often learn from. That's what I meant. Shame they don't explain a bit more why that is. But GEO matters too, because AI search is growing and the zero-click trend is accelerating as more AI overviews roll out. What's more, Adobe's recent study found that 3 in 10 US respondents trust GPT more than other search engines, and 36% of the people surveyed discovered a new product or brand through ChatGPT. If you're curious about the global traffic shift, check out our AI versus Search Traffic Analysis dashboard, which pulls data from over 50,000 sites. For instance, yeah. Look at their page. Then cheat sheet, SEO versus GEO, side by side. Yeah, that's again. Final thoughts. Again, if you want to look at it once more, will be in the description below. Final thoughts, you're falling behind, don't panic. SEO dies every year and lives forever. True. Have been hearing, oh, SEO is dead now forever. The same qualities that make content strong for SEO also work for GEO. By adding GEO strategies to your SEO efforts and keeping an eye on your AI visibility, you'll be well positioned for today and prepared for what's next. Got questions? Let me know on LinkedIn. Mateusz Makosiewicz, elect Are we already? Am I connected or not? I like the article. It was a good article. Good information. Quite sweet. Quite well done. I like it. I appreciate it. And with that, this little article is finished. If you like what I do, if you enjoy me going through these articles, consider supporting this channel. You can do it by following me, clicking a like. It's 1 or 2 clicks, costs you absolutely nothing, but it helps this channel tremendously. And with that, I'm going to jump right into the next article. And mouse. Yep, mouse react. And with that, let's continue this stream. So, saved this little. I've saved this now. For those of you who already know what I do, I'm going to copy paste the notes now because I want to keep it all a bit safe what I'm doing. Also, I need fresh water. Yes. So, give me a second just to get some fresh water. We'll be back with you in a second. Yeah, that's how it works. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Vienna, Austria, in Europe, and this is German. It says Glückspilz, lucky mushroom. That's someone who's lucky, who's got a lot of luck in his life. So, with that, all right, Mateus, am I already following you or not? Ta-da. What is this? Oh, that's another study. New data backed. Maybe I'll look at this one a bit later. Mateus following already. Great. And already connected on LinkedIn too. Great. I like that. So, let's jump to the next article. As usual, I have not read those articles before. I just go through them live with you guys. Checking the chat now. Yeah, works. Oh, let me just post the last link. So, this, like this. Great. Just a second, guys. I'll be with you in a short little moment. Okay? Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic with me, guys. Please don't panic. Don't panic. Yeah, we are back. Right back into the game. And with that, I continue. So, next article. This time, a bit about threats, I think. And in the meta block. Yeah, why not have it in English? Yeah. Can you guys see the text well? So, like this. Threats. Attach text to your threads, posts, and share longer perspectives. All right. New function or new stuff for threads. As usual, we jump a bit around. I get the news of all the different marketing things from social media to email to studies. So takeaway. We're rolling out a new feature that lets you attach up to 10,000 characters of text to a post. Cool. In posts with text attachments, you can link out to your content, helping your audience discover your fresh and interesting takes off platform. Like blog article work. This helps people more easily express themselves and promote and drive people to the work wherever it lives. There are many ways to share your... Can you guys see well? There are many ways to share your perspective on threads, but we've now noticed people expressing themselves with screenshots of longer content from books, articles, newsletters, podcast transcripts, and more when 500 characters isn't enough. To address this, we're rolling out a way to attach up to 10,000 characters of text to a post. Any attached text can be read directly in threads to help you convey more complex perspectives, draw your audience in, and promote your work. If you're sharing or previewing content from other platforms on threads, you can include a link to the full content in the body of your main post. Okay. Okay, gotta test that out. Let's see. This gives people more room to express themselves and start conversations, and helps the community discover the work wherever it lives. For example, an author might attach text to the post, tease a portion of a forthcoming novel, while a journalist might promote the latest think piece. Text attachments are part of our ongoing efforts to improve the creative experience on threads and help communities connect around shared interests. And we'll continue gathering feedback on how to improve on them. Okay. Okay, interesting. Where do you see that? Where? Do I see that? I don't have it yet. As usual. As usual. Europeans are left hanging. Hanging again and again and again. Maybe in a few weeks, month, or who knows when. Nope. Nope. Can't do anything. Sadly, sorry guys. I can't show you how it works. Maybe another day, as usual. We'll have to wait for it. I go through the news and the news articles, papers, anything in marketing, from social media over email marketing to whatever exists, web design, SEO, and so on. With you guys, for myself. I'm an agency owner. I need to know what's going on in the field. If you like what I do, if you enjoy what I do, if you want to support the channel, please feel free. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me. It's the easiest way for you to support this channel. It costs you absolutely nothing, 1 or 2 clicks, and you can help me tremendously with that. And with that, this article is over, and I continue our little live stream where we go through other articles. For those who watch this on YouTube, wish you all the very, very best. And we have this little article finished. Now let's save this little article. It's so annoying that we don't get to use the features. It's like, man, what is going on? Why can't we use these features? Why is it always so much later? Well, let's go through that. It's a bit too short. I don't want to make a unique video about this. Let's see. Okay, it's just... sorry. I have to apologize. This article is way too short for me. I don't want to make an extra video about it. Sorry. Like, okay, a few updates. ChatGPT hallucinates few stuff. Shopping, it's better detecting shopping intent when you want to buy something. Formatting is done better. Like, okay, nice. Like, okay. Yeah. No, that might be interesting. That might be more interesting. So, next article. Reddit debuts 6-second video ad views goal. Very interesting. Ads on Reddit are not as common as they could be. While some clients I know use them already, it's still something that's interesting to consider for your brand. Let's go through it. Written by Anu Adekbola. I hope I was speaking that name, pronouncing it correctly. If not, I apologize. As usual, I budget with the names. So, Reddit's 6-second video ad goal boosts completion rates while slashing costs, helping brands pay only for real attention. Reddit today launched a beta feature called 6-second engaged video views. a new optimization goal designed to make video ads more impactful and cost efficient. Unlike Reddit's existing 2-second view objective, the new option prioritizes users who are likely to watch an ad for at least 6 seconds or to completion. Early testers reported plus 130% view-through rates, plus 71% completion rates, and an 83% drop in cost per view when paired with auto bidding, according to internal Reddit data. That's a good drop. Wow. Why we care? Reddit's new 6-second engaged video views metric shifts ad spend towards users who actually watch, not just scroll past, reflecting advertiser demand for quality over quantity. Early tests show higher completion rates and significantly lower costs per view, helping brands stretch budgets while ensuring real impact. The details? Advertisers only pay for engaged views, improving ROI. The goal is available in Reddit Ads Manager under video views campaigns with automated bidding options, lowest cost or cost cap. Once selected, the optimization goal can't be changed for that campaign. The big picture, with more than 3,000 videos posted daily and half of Reddit content consumed in media form, the platform is leaning into video as a core driver of brand storytelling and user engagement. What's next? Advertisers can start testing the feature immediately in beta ahead of a wider rollout. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Cool option. I always like it when we can get more specific with what we do and where we spend our money. I think that's a good thing. Interesting. Quite interesting. If you guys, I know that it's not that common. If you guys want to know about Reddit ads, I realize I haven't made many videos about it. Leave it in the comments or write something about it. Give a like, comment, or ask in the next chats and streams a bit live. And then we can consider it if I should do a deep dive into how do you set up Reddit account, Reddit ads, and so on. If you guys are interested in it. And with that, if you like what I do, I go through news and marketing, business development, be it SEO, web design, web marketing, social media, content creation, email marketing, and many, many other fields. If you like what I do, if you want to support it, if you want me to do it more, dive deeper into stuff, consider supporting this channel, leave a comment, give me a like, give me a subscribe or follow. Those things cost you absolutely nothing. 1 or 2 clicks helps this channel tremendously. And with that, I wish you all the very, very best, and I jump to the next article for today. So, interesting. I like that with the Reddit ads. That sounds interesting. I like it when I have to pay less for the same ads. It's simple as that. Gonna be honest. It's as simple as that. No. This sounds like a very interesting article now. This I'm curious about. Let's go through it. Get it. This sounds like an interesting article. As usual, I have not read it beforehand. I'm going through it live with you guys. So let's see. Can small businesses compete on Google Ads anymore? Well, curious to see that. Written by Sophie Logan. Table of contents. With the right strategy, even the smallest business can stand out, win customers, and make a lasting impact. Here's how. Good title, I like that. Good way to hook us in. Paid advertising, particularly through Google Ads, is a cornerstone marketing channel for businesses of all sizes. However, there's no denying that with big brands dominating the platform, it's becoming harder for small and mid-sized businesses to see success. In fact, more than 50% of respondents to a recent poll said small businesses have been priced out of advertising on Google Ads. Here just a handful of the... Is it big enough for you to see? Let me make it this way. Here just a handful of the bit too small. Here are just a handful of the difficulties that small businesses face when advertising on Google Ads compared to bigger brands. Rising costs. With CPCs on the rise, it's becoming more expensive for small businesses to drive potential customers to their website. Yep, people have no clue how cheap it was, and it's still able to go way more expensive. You gotta compare it to the prices you paid in the 90s with TV, radio ads, and so on. It's insane. Hello, Patricia in the chat. Hello. With the Google Ads budgets no longer stretching as far as they once did, smaller businesses are missing out on opportunities to generate customers, while bigger brands are more likely to have the flexibility to increase their spend. Data volumes. Google Ads features such as automated bid strategies and RSA's responsive search ads work more effectively when sufficient data is running through the account, which means the more you pay, the more you use it, the more you have people clicking on these ads and the more ads you run, the better it will work out. However, for smaller businesses with modest campaign budgets, lower data volumes can result in it taking much longer for the system to learn. This means that they need to be more patient when waiting to see results, often needing to wait months before their account runs more effectively, a privilege that not all small businesses can afford. Account management. Using the correct bid strategy, implementing best practices while building an account unique to your business, navigating keywords and match types. There is an endless list of things to consider in order to run an efficient Google Ads campaign. True, while bigger brands are likely to have an expert on hand, if not a whole team or department, smaller businesses are less likely to have these skills in-house or be able to afford to have an agency run campaigns on their behalf. As such, many small businesses are not using Google Ads to its fullest potential. Absolutely true. But SMB small businesses have another issue too. Finding good agencies is hard. Many will demand a lot of money without it making any sense. I've seen so many weird setups that were just burning money. It's insane. I've talked to so-called experts. Many don't know the basics of Google Ads setup or SEO and other stuff. Like, it's insane. Brand awareness. Even with the best product or service in the market, brand awareness can make or break PPC efforts. Bigger brands typically benefit from stronger brand awareness among the target audience, and this recognition can drastically improve the click-through rate and conversion rate. People are more likely to purchase from brands that they are already familiar with. Again, we have the trust factor. The more you're known, the more people know your brand, the more they know the name, the product, and everything, the more likely they are to buy it and just accept it. That's an important part of marketing. Just making sure people know you and have already heard of you. In comparison, smaller businesses often do not have a strong level of awareness or visibility, leaving potential customers unaware of their existence. They therefore face an uphill battle of building awareness, trust, credibility, and recognition to persuade people to engage with them and not the market leader. Despite these challenges, there is still hope for small businesses. While the PPC playing fields favors bigger brands, small businesses can still compete as long as they do so with well-rounded strategies, smart targeting, and a willingness to adapt to and keep up to date with platform developments. Or, as Hannah Kopsova puts it, small businesses just need to outsmart, not outspend. Hannah Kopsova? It's definitely harder without big budget, but not impossible. Small businesses just need to outsmart, not outspend. Well, and here I will chime in just with my experience why I don't work with really big companies and prefer smaller companies. Small companies are like motorboats. They can react fast, they're nimble, they can go into little niches and into little crooks, and you can adapt stuff very stuff extremely fast. Big companies and big brands are like oil tankers. It's like you have a meeting and then it goes through legal and then through the marketing department, and 4 weeks later you have this meeting, and 6 weeks later this, and then 3 weeks later, and it's such an over slow grind that, and try to change the brand messaging on your own. It's insane how slow and how inefficient everything becomes once it's so bureaucratic. So small businesses have quite a benefit that they can use that the bigger ones can't use. Just saying. Okay? Curious about this? Let's look at 3 ways smaller businesses can outsmart bigger brands. Focus on quality traffic over quantity. Where is the value in generating 10,000 clicks in a single day if it's an irrelevant audience who are not a right fit for the product or service? True. Smaller businesses can benefit from focusing on a smaller segment of people who are more closely aligned with the wants, needs, and interests of the target audience, rather than casting a wide net and driving anyone to their site. For example, if a business only provides catering services for weddings, then the keyword list, ad copy, ad assets, extensions, and landing page need to be specifically chosen to resonate with someone planning their wedding. This will likely lead to a decrease in metrics such as impressions and click volume, especially if the initial targeting methods were more broad. However, the more relevant the traffic, the higher the likelihood of conversion and monetary value being driven through PPC. Okay. Make every click count with accurate tracking. If businesses don't implement conversion tracking, then they cannot accurately understand how their PPC campaigns are performing. And without understanding how their PPC campaigns are performing, then they can't optimize them accordingly. All businesses need to ensure that they have accurate conversion tracking. But for smaller businesses where every single penny counts, they need to ensure that their campaigns are generating real value. And three, create winning ads without big budgets. With tools like Asset Studio, okay, that's a shameless plug, now appearing in most Google Ads accounts, it's never been easier for small businesses to create and edit images and videos for their campaigns. Yeah. The Google Asset Studio. The Google Asset Studio, okay. Not their own. Okay, sorry. Small businesses no longer need to allocate budget towards costly asset production to make their ads stand out. They can create new visuals and videos directly in the Google Ads platform, saving them both money and time. Whilst the limitless capabilities of AI are compelling, who doesn't want to see what a unicorn with the face of a puck jumping over a rainbow would look like? Small businesses should still keep to their brand guidelines and ensure that the assets they create are an authentic representation of their brand. Expand beyond Google to reach your audience. Small businesses struggling on Google Ads have plenty of other platforms to explore. Microsoft Advertising is an excellent alternative to Google Ads for many small businesses. Most verticals have lower CPCs and can deliver strong performance for industries that favor an older, more professional audience. It offers a similar interface and experience to Google Ads, but ads run across the Microsoft and Partners network, including Bing and Yahoo. Social media platforms such as Meta and TikTok offer small businesses valuable opportunities outside of the Google network. You can reach your target audience on the websites and apps they frequent. How smaller brands can compete on Google Ads. Smaller businesses can achieve meaningful success on Google Ads by outsmarting larger competitors through sharper targeting that prioritizes quality over quantity of traffic, more robust conversion tracking, using the creative tools on Google Ads. And bigger brands may benefit from sizable budgets and strong brand awareness. However, smaller brands can still be competitive on Google Ads. It's by no means easy, but it is possible. I like that article. I think there are a few points that could be added to it. For example, often, yes, it is more expensive for a small brand because they don't have the benefit of the scale. But on the other side, it's more expensive too for the bigger companies. You won't get as cheap agencies. You won't get such a cheap photographer. Microsoft, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, they don't get a cheap and easy small little coder for a website and landing page. They don't get someone, a photographer, who would do it for cheap for them. It's like impossible. And with the overhead, with every campaign, every poster, every content, every guideline has to go through, they have to invest way more money into the same amount of ads than a small company does. Also, they have way more brand awareness, which means they have to be careful. Like one bad ad and they can ruin their reputation. For a small brand, it's usually nobody knows you anyway. If the brand is not working well, you won't have a national backlash. It's like, okay, the 100 people, 1,000 people that saw your ad will not like it. So what? With the next campaign, you get a fresh batch of people to see your next ad anyway. So, of course, like take this with a grain of salt. But in general, you have different methods and different things that you can do. You have a completely different approach. So there are quite a few benefits for smaller brands too, at least in my opinion and in my experience. Still, was a nice article. I think it's a bit of a shame it didn't go into more detail. if you guys like me to jump into more deep dive of these topics, like maybe set it up or something, leave a comment in the chat or in the video when this is posted then later on YouTube. And consider supporting this channel. If you like what I do, if you like that I go through the news and research papers and other stuff, consider leaving a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me. It's just 1-2 clicks. It's completely free for you, costs you nothing, but helps this channel tremendously. And with that, I will jump. Oh, wait. Sophie Logan, I want to mention her there. Do we find something? Nope. No Twitter, but LinkedIn. With that, I'll leave you be. The link to the article will be below in the description as usual. And I wish you all the very, very best. So, and our next article is finished for today. Just saving them all up. Oh, it's already. Gotta watch out. What's the time? What's the time? What's the time? Oh, I've got a bit of time left. Okay, good. Got a meeting at 11 a.m. So we've got still some time. No problem. Sophie Logan, I like that article. Also for all of you, of course, feel free, add me on whatever social media. My name, Faisula. You will find me everywhere. It's always the same name. In some, it's like a 1 at the end because someone else has taken my name, but in general, you'll find me always with the same name. So Sophie Logan. Ah, that's the Pulitzer Prize. I don't think so. I would not agree with that. Just my opinion. The other small articles that we already. Okay, these are already the new articles. I went through all of the articles that I wanted to go through today, huh? We were fast, pretty fast today. All right. Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to jump right into my work. As usual, for those who don't know, the first part is me going through the daily articles, news, research papers, and everything, and then I switch over to me just working in my office. I run an agency. I've got work to do. I'll keep streaming live. You will see me in the little box. I'm just working, and I let old content like from the last few days and weeks run so that you can still stay informed, learn about stuff. Everything is, some are interviews, some are newspaper articles, research papers, and all of this kind of stuff. I'm still reachable. You can say hello in the chat. You can help. You can comment, whatever you want to do. So I'm gonna switch right over and start the videos. Really, it's just as simple as this one. What is content readability? Now we're gonna start with this little one. Easy. As I said, I'm reachable for you guys. Just let me check it out if my connection is good or not. Yeah, it seems we've got a clean set. I don't know, it looks laggy to me right now on my computer. I hope it's not. Looks really laggy. Let me take a look online what it looks like. Take a look online. Nope, seems fine. All right, great. Then with that, let's get started. Easier to read. Well, that sounds interesting, right? It's extremely important to understand this. Written by Julia McCoy. Table of content. Content that doesn't get read is useless. Learn how to create content your audience will read and not just skim. Oh wow, that's a tough game from the start. I thought it was just about crawlers going through. That people really read it. Most people only skim stuff. Stay hydrated. Nice, 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 nice. Content that doesn't get read is useless. So how do you create content your audience will read and not just skim? Make it more readable. This sounds so simple it's silly, but it's true. Readability is a giant factor that will determine everything from who engages with your content, how much value they get from it, and whether they return to read more. Well, one big issue is so let's go through it this way. If you're in the USA, consider this. 79% of adults in the US are considered literate. Oh, thank God. But that means 25% of adults, or about 43 million people, have low literacy skills. 54% reads at the level below what is typically expected for a 6th grade education, with 20% reading below a 5th grade level. Okay, so let's go through Europe. It's around, the literacy is around 98.7. Nearly all adults in the EU can read and write, with most countries reporting rates. For example, I know that this is not perfectly correct. It goes here with literacy, but there are also many who can't read properly. I know that because I went through the stats recently. But let's go on. Let's go on. Let's go on. Let's go on. Readability is a giant factor that will determine everything from who engages with your content, how much value they get from it, and whether they'll return to read more. So what is content readability? How is it measured? And how can you make your content easier to read? It's all inside this guide. Okay, let's go through it and see how well it works. What is content readability? Content readability measures how easy your content is to read for your audience. Readable content is clear, easy to understand, and easy to skim. On the other hand, content that's hard to read is hard to understand, hard to skim, and unclear. But perhaps the major difference between readable and unreadable content lies in how much value your reader can take away from each one. Readable content effectively conveys information so your reader learns something new, makes a discovery, or solves a problem. Unreadable content fails to do all of this. Your reader can't learn anything from it because the words and sentences themselves fail to make sense. How do you measure content readability? Content readability is both objective and subjective. It's based on an individual's reading level and intelligence, but it's also measurable based on objective things like the word choices and vocabulary you use in your content, how often you use common and uncommon words, the structure and length of your sentences and paragraphs. Many readability tests exist that measure your content in terms of the above factors and give you a score that tells you how readable your content is. Here are the most common and current, as in they were created or updated within the last 50 years, readability tests. Also guys, if you like what I do, please leave a like the video, give me a bit of support to make the channel work better. Flash-Kincaid grade level formula. Flash-Kincaid is perhaps the most well-known readability formula. It looks at the ratio of words to sentences and syllables to words to measure the readability of your text. Okay, more words per sentence harder, more syllables per word harder. Oh man. This formula grades your content based on the lowest US grade level that could easily read and understand it. So for instance, scoring a 6 means people who read at a 6th grade level and above should be able to read your text easily. By the way, this is a good score to aim for with online writing. Tools that can check your content against this formula include Microsoft Word, Hemingway Editor, Readable, and Pro Writing Aid. I would give you the advice, I've got them too, just bookmark them and always go through the text with them. I still don't always do that, I still don't always work with that. I know I'm just making the mistake that I'm not always doing it for myself, for my clients. I do that for myself and my pages. Nope. Tools that can check your content against this formula. Okay. In Microsoft Word, the readability statistics appear after you run a spelling and grammar check. Readability, flash reading, ease, Flash-Kincaid grade level, passive sentences. Lexile framework for reading. Another well-known readability measurement system primarily used in schools is the Lexile framework. It has two parts: measuring text based on word frequency and average sentence length, measuring a person's reading level. For instance, content that's harder to read with a lot of long sentences or words that appear infrequently will get a higher Lexile score. Content that's easier to read with short sentences and frequent words will get a lower score. How to make your content easier to read. 9 tips for better readability. So, now we know readable content is high quality content. Again, why? Because also on the psychology of it, people don't like to feel dumb. People don't want to be confronted with stuff that they don't understand. Many people get angry or frustrated if something triggers their I don't get it, I don't understand it. And also if they have to put in effort intellectually to understand something that's really important for you to understand, people get annoyed by that. Really, it's just as simple as that. So they push it off immediately. If your website, if your content, if your ad has stuff like that, people are pushed away from it. But let's say you've tested your content against a few readability checkers and discovered that it's mostly hard to read. What now? It's time to improve your content to make it more readable. Here are 9 tips that will help. Number 1, shorten your sentences. Shorter sentences are simpler. That's why they are easy to read. Meanwhile, longer sentences tend to contain more than one thought or idea. Stuff your sentences full of information and your readers will have difficulty untangling it. Consider it like a buffer. People have small buffers to remember what was said. If you have too long sentences, they forget the start of the sentence already once they are at the end. For this reason, shorten those sentences. And if you tend to write long sentences, naturally count through your draft, look for them, and break them into smaller chunks. Hot tip, a tool like Hemingway Editor automatically highlights long sentences so you don't have to hunt for them. Hemingway app makes your writing bold and clear. As you can see, it marks the sentences that are long and so on. It marks the words that are more complicated. It's a good tool, really good tool. Break up and shorten your paragraphs. While you're shortening your sentences, go ahead and shorten those paragraphs too. At most, your paragraphs for written online content should contain no more than 1 to 3 sentences. A big dense paragraph with long sentences is daunting. It's great for paperback novel, but terrible for your blog. Nothing spells death to your reader's attention span worse than a wall of dense text. A good rule of thumb for breaking up paragraphs: one paragraph is one thought or idea. As soon as you move on to your next thought, move on to a new paragraph. Remember, the enter or return key is your friend. Use active voice. This was one that was really confusing to me, in all honesty, to me myself. I understand it, I accept it, but it was really confusing. Next readability tip, write in active voice. Active voice refers to how you word a sentence. When you word it actively, you clearly state the subject and verb. Example, the dog ran after the ball. Dog subject, ran verb. Passive voice means you're wording a sentence passively. This means the subject of the sentence is unclear. I wouldn't say it's unclear, it's just harder for some people to get. Example, the ball was run after by the dog. Here how the subject, the dog, is buried at the end of the subject, of the sentence. Well, because the subject is not the dog, it's the ball in this sentence. That's why, but never mind. That said, sometimes passive voice works if you need to emphasize the actions of the sentence versus the subject. For example, let's say I wanted to tell you about a car robbery experience. I would say, my car was broken into last night. The subject of the sentence, the person who robbed my car, is irrelevant. I don't know who they are. What's important to convey is that the robbery, the action, happened. However, read carefully. In most cases, active voice is much clearer and easier to read than passive voice. Emphasize that when you edit your content. Examples of active and passive voice. Active voice, I bought some new shoes. Passive voice, some new shoes were bought by me. Our team is winning the game. The game is being won by our team. James met his sister by the gate. James' sister was met by the gate by him. We will ride the bus to New York City. The bus to New York City will be ridden by us. We are going to have a long day tomorrow. We will race cars, eat a big lunch, and then enjoy the concert. Passive, a long day is going to be had tomorrow by us. Cars will be raced by us, a big lunch will be eaten by us, and then a concert will be enjoyed by us. Mix up your word choices. Repeating the same words over and over in content is boring to read, not to mention it looks like keyword stuffing. It's boring to read, the same thing is hard to read, not exactly, but it's close. Consider that people who are bored with your content probably won't stick around to read all of it. They'll bounce. That's why mixing up your vocabulary can improve your writing. It livens up your sentences and makes them more engaging. 5. Use lists. Lists are a skimming reader's best friend, and if your content is easy to skim, it's also easy to read. For this reason, whenever you're tempted to write a long list of items separated by commas, transform it into a numbered or bulleted list. You can apply the same technique to steps in a sequence, a group of related items, ideas, or concepts, points in a long paragraph, any other information you want to highlight or set apart from the main text. See what I did there? Yeah, she did a list. Wow! Give your readers signposts. Content that's easy to read also makes judicious use of signposts that show the reader the lay of the land. For example, descriptive headings help your reader understand how your content is organized and what information each section will cover. Selective use of bold text helps highlight important words, ideas, or phrases your reader should pay attention to. Another great signpost for long-form content is the humble table of contents. This helps your reader jump around in an article to the information they most want to read. Here's a good example of a blog with the table of contents by Ahrefs, a brand that uses them often. Keyword analyzer for SEO, table of contents at the left side. Now, point 7. Avoid jargon and industries. Our goal was to drive more traffic to the landing page and ultimately earn ROI through signups. Do you understand what the above sentence is saying? If you do, you might be a marketer. If you don't, welcome to the world of Industry S, also known as jargon or industry speak. This is the insider language that people who work within the same niche or industry use when they speak to each other. To everyone else, it sounds like gibberish. Using it in content that's supposed to be targeted to your audience is a cardinal sin, because unless you have a specific exception, your audience does not speak like you and your colleagues. Okay, little caveat here. There are quite a few industries and quite a few situations in which you absolutely want to use the jargon speak because you want your clients to know that you know that industry, that you're one of them, and that you understand their pain points and what they're going through and the challenges they face. Just saying, okay? In those cases, it's really good to implement the right jargon into your articles, words, and so on. Format your pages with plenty of white space. The responsibility for this one might rest with your website designer, but it's important. Ensure your pages have plenty of white space around the content and text. This is simply the empty space between the elements on a page. This room to breathe makes your pages easier to read because the page elements won't be crammed together. Just as something to understand for many people, a lot of people get overstimulated with too much sensory input. It's often it is correlated with IQ. That's just the way it is. You can process more stuff the more intellectual capability and brain power you have. That means you have an easier time seeing many different fields, many different inputs, and analyzing them and going, okay, this is important, this is not important. Many people aren't that good at this. So it's easier for them to have easy layouts and designs that clearly make out this is what you're supposed to focus on. Ignore the other stuff. It's way away, and we give them space between these different elements. 9. Check your content by reading it out loud. One of the easiest ways to check your content readability is to read it aloud. It may feel silly, but you'll quickly discover how different your content sounds out loud versus in your head. When you read it out loud, you're more likely to stumble over complex sentences and paragraphs or to notice when your words get all tangled. When you come across these instances, try to rewrite them more simply. Try to rewrite them more simply. Smooth them out for ease of reading. Try it. It might change how you edit content. Improve your content readability for better results. Content readability is a big deal. When your content is readable for your audience, they'll have an easier time getting value out of it. They'll learn from it, glean something new, or get the answer they were looking for. On the other hand, content that's hard to read will stop them from doing any of the above. It will bore or frustrate them. And the bored, frustrated audience won't stick around. That's the antithesis of content marketing. Work on your readability and you will see better results. Julia McCoy is a 9 times author and founder who scaled and sold a 100-person writing agency to become a trailblazer in AI adaptation. She empowers business to dominate in the AI revolution on a podcast, Leaders in AI, and in her AI integration consultancy, firstmovers.ai. All right, I like that article. Julia McCoy, it's good. As usual, if you like what I do, I go through articles like this, new trends, scientific papers, research, studies, all different in the wide array of marketing. If you like what I do, if you want to support the channel, please consider giving a like to the video or subscribing to the channel. It's free, it's a click, maybe 2 clicks, and it helps the channel tremendously. I would really appreciate it. And with that, we're going to jump right over to the next article in a few moments. Hey guys, today I've got an awesome guest for you to get to know. It's a very, very world famous, renowned researcher, Professor Seidhammer. She's well known for her works in the field of service industry marketing, how it impacted back in the 80s and 90s, her work, her books. It's been tremendous. Anyone who's in marketing knows about this. So she's been working for years as a consultant after publishing her works, because so many companies and people saw the value in her works from the first moment on. Of course, she had other people who she worked with, but I'm very, very honored and very glad to be able to present her to you guys. So Professor Seidhammer, I'm very, very thankful that you took the time to be here. Thank you very much. If possible, would you be so kind to tell the viewers for a little bit overview who you are and what your research is about?
My name is Valerie Seidhammer, and you can call me Valerie if that's easier. I have been a student of services marketing for at least 55 years. It began when I worked in a lot of service businesses when I was younger. I was a babysitter and a lifeguard, and I bussed tables at a restaurant and so forth. And so I've thought about service for a long time. Now, one of the things I thought about it was that it wasn't the same as products. So that's why I spent the last 45 years researching service.
May I ask right in there for the first question, what are, in your opinion, the differences between product marketing and service marketing? What is the huge difference there?
Well, the traditional differences we used to talk about were 4 things. Services are perishable. For example, if you don't sell airline seats, they're gone.
Okay.
Services are heterogeneous, meaning depending on who you get to cut your hair, it might work out or it might not. Now, maybe you don't care so much about that, but I care a lot about it. So heterogeneous, perishable. There are 2 others, and I'm having trouble remembering them because this goes back a long time.
Yeah.
Will you let me remember them later?
Yeah, okay, no problem. Let's get on. Let's go on. No problem. And it doesn't need to be that technical, just in like in a basic idea for the people who start with the company or who start with marketing. What do you think is important to keep in mind in the difference of services and products? Like what is the big difference? Not on an academic level, but more on a to-do hands-on level.
Okay. Well, first of all, measuring service is very hard. Back in the quality days, it was very easy to measure the quality of physical products. You can get out a scale. This is how much it weighs. You can get out a ruler. This is how tall it is. This is how wide it is. This is how deep it is. But there were no easy measurements of service. That's why you had to measure them perceptually, which is why we developed ServQual. ServQual is a perceptual measure. The second big thing is that delivering service in a company of any size, and the bigger, the harder, is extremely difficult.
There's the question about the surf call that you develop. It's an important difference, the gap between the customer expectation and the customer experience. What is that gap about?
Okay, first of all,
Mhm.
let's say that you, well, what is a service that you typically use?
I personally, phew, I would say, for example, let's say business consulting is something that I often do and take
Oh,
into.
very good example.
Yeah.
Okay. If someone wanted to hire a business consultant,
Mhm.
they would have expectations
Yeah.
about what that business consultant would deliver.
Yeah.
That means they would think, what should a business consultant offer? What will they offer?
Yeah.
Okay, those are expectations.
Mhm.
Now, when they actually have the experience,
Mhm.
those are the perceptions.
Okay.
And very frequently, there's a difference between the perceptions and the expectations.
Yeah. Okay. 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 How should we try to get, or let me ask a different way. What should we as business people do? Should we try to get as close to the expectation as possible, or do we just have to communicate better to say, well, customer, your client, your expectation is just unrealistic? Which of the
No,
two?
no, 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 no. Neither of them.
Neither of them. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Bad,
curious.
bad, bad, bad.
Okay.
First of all, we don't want to promise what we can't deliver.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means, I mean, some people used to say under promise and over deliver. However, I believe that you should only promise what you can deliver. And if you can deliver something, then that's okay to promise it. Now, if somebody comes to you and wants to use your services and you know that you can't deliver what they want, it's important to say, to sit down with them. Okay, still with a consultant. Okay, we're going to sit down and we're going to have a meeting and we're going to find out what you want. And then we're going to talk about how you will measure that. And then we're going to talk about, we're going to get together maybe 4 times in the next year to decide whether we have met your expectations or not.
Okay. So to set up with your client or with the customer or with the one who's offering the service, who can do it both as the one who's offering the service or as the one who's ordering the service. We can say, listen, I want to talk to you. I want to like set a few rules or a few guidelines to see if what we're doing is measuring up to what we discussed at the beginning. Like goal one, goal two, goal three. In 1 month, I want this. In 6 months, I want this. In 1 year, I want this. And then we can see if we are on the path towards these goals or not. Do you understand that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. 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 How did you get into that field, if I may ask? Like from the very beginning on service quality work research. It sounds like, how did you get into that back in the days?
May I be honest?
Yeah, please be honest.
Probably the most important thing was that I was a lifeguard.
Really?
Okay. Now,
Okay.
I wasn't a Baywatch lifeguard, if you know what that was.
Yeah.
No, no. I was a lifeguard at a YMCA, and
Okay.
I had a boss. His name was Lou Hammond.
Okay.
He was this big, burly boss.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he didn't tell me exactly what I was supposed to do. I knew
Okay.
I wasn't supposed to let anybody drown.
Yeah.
But beyond that, what was I supposed to do? What
Yeah.
did the parents expect of me? What did the little kids expect of me?
Okay.
What did Lou expect of me? So I
Okay.
was sitting there in my lifeguard chair and I was thinking of different things. Okay, the kids probably want me to be nice and funny. The parents want me to respond if they have any questions or concerns. So, do you have any idea what these things are sounding like?
Well, how do you come up with the terms of doing good or bad job on your own? It's like it sounds like bad onboarding of loose case. I gotta admit, like usually
Okay, you don't do it on your own. You do it by talking to customers.
okay, okay,
Now, those things that I came up with at that time were just things that I thought of.
yeah,
As it turns out, they were the precursors to the items on a ServQual measurement scale.
okay, okay. So interesting approach because I think naturally for most people they would just think about what they think on their own and that with what they come up with. Well, I think that service has to have quality XYZ. And you say,
No,
no, no,
no,
no, you
no, no,
gotta go
no.
out and ask the
No,
client.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Bad idea.
Okay.
Bad idea.
Yeah. So if I started my service company, what should I do? What does your research say? Okay, this is one of the first steps. These are the things you should take into consideration.
Well, the first steps I would say is are okay. And this is a bit like any kind of marketing. Who is your target market? And then you want to talk to the people in your target market, focus group interviews, in-depth interviews. When we came up with ServQual, I did 12 focus group interviews across the country. You know, north, south, east, west. Some with men, some with women. What does service quality mean to you? When you get good service quality, what does it look like? When you get bad service quality, what does it look like? So talk to the customers.
Okay. What is good? What is bad? Okay. I mean, you got the just for the viewers who don't know, I'll be linking the works and the papers and SurfCall and everything down below in the description of the video, just so you guys know. You can look it up. It's really interesting work. You have a whole schedule of questions and impulses and ideas on what you could start with to get your service product. It's not a product, but your service agency, your service company
Offering
working better.
your
Yep, the
service
offering. Thank you very much.
offering.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. And it's really, really interesting because I myself work in marketing as an agency. I witnessed most people, that's why I was so curious to have you on the show, was most people that I know that have an agency or have any kind of offering like videographers, graphic designers, web developers, the whole industry, like goes through that and says, well, I will just come up with what I think the customer wants. I will just come up with that. And those ideas that I have about the client, I will try my best to get the best at that kind of thing. And when I talk to people, because I'm more the guy who goes out, drinks a coffee or a beer with the people, meets with them, talks again and again and again, thousands of times, I made the experience that often what an industry thinks is important or what people are taught is important isn't really important to the client. They look at a completely different set of values that are important to them. And that's a bit how I got into your research and how I stumbled upon your book and everything. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about. Why do you think is that? Why do you think people come up with such different values than what the client really has? I mean, you've been consulting many companies by now. Is there some kind of red tape where I think, oh, that's a common mistake they do?
Okay, have you ever heard of the GAPS model?
Yep. But what is it for the audience? Yeah, of course I've read it.
Okay, well, so one of the big gaps in delivering service quality is assuming that you know. Okay, that's the difference between what customers expect and what companies think customers expect. Now, they assume because it might be easier for them to do that, to make an assumption. But there are lots of examples where assumptions are wrong. For example, do you know the average life of a restaurant, the average lifespan of a new restaurant?
What a lot of them are closed in the first 3 years, as far as I know, but I don't know the exact numbers.
6 months.
6 months. Wow, that's much shorter than that. Wow. Wow.
Why? Well,
Yeah.
because people say, "Oh, I really like this kind of, I like to, to do this kind of food.
Yeah.
My mother cooked this kind of food, and I'm going to have a restaurant like my mother cooked."
Yeah.
Well, how do you know some people are going to like that?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. 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 So for the viewers that don't know, the GAPS model is a bit of a way to explain how companies, how product designers, how in development things are assumed on a basis on what the client or the customer might want, and then the product is designed in a specific way with these theoretical assumptions made in place. They're educated guesses, and the issue is sometimes, often depending on who you ask, it's like the idea of what is wanted is completely wrong compared to what the market really wants. As Professor just mentioned, a very often cited case for restaurants, for example, is the idea that, oh, we'll be doing very big portions for a very low price, and that is going to bring many people in because people like to eat big portions. And virtually all restaurants that tried this approach, for example, failed because they realized, oh, there is a reason why this idea is not common. Often something that is not common has a reason because the market is not really into these ideas. So that's really, really interesting. But as a startup, let's assume I'm a startup, I'm beginning, I don't have the money to like ask a lot of people to do all of this marketing research. I could only work with educated guesses. So with the method you proposed in the surf call, it's like a multidimensional survey. How could I try to implement that with as small a business as possible? Because I always like to try to get my viewers an idea with the smaller startups. If you're a company that gets VC funding with a few $1 million, it's easier to get an agency or to build up an internal department to get these things done. But how could I do it as a bit of a smaller startup?
Okay, you could use SurfQual
Okay.
itself,
Mm-hmm.
and you could adapt it,
Yeah.
excuse me, to the business that you have.
Yeah.
Now, I have to tell you that there are some people who believe and are successful with the idea that they can come up with the right thing. Apple.
Yeah.
Apple is an example.
Hmm.
Apple, the guy who invented Apple,
Yeah. Wasn't
always
it? And
said, I don't need market research.
yeah.
However, he didn't use market research on his physical products,
Yeah.
but they did use market research in the stores.
Okay. Okay.
So, but you can find a lot of adaptations of ServQual that suit different industries. For example, there is a hospitality version of ServQual and a restaurant version.
Okay.
And there are many, many different versions. And to find them, they can look on Google Scholar.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Google Scholar?
Yes, I am. I am, of course.
So if you go to Google Scholar, you look up ServQual, and underneath ServQual, you will see a lot of different papers listed. They could go through those papers until they find one that fits the industry they're in.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to give the viewers a bit of value, how they can use what you came up with, of course, what others also came up with. It's an evolution taking place over the years, of course, but it's really, really interesting to think about that. So why or how do how should I say it? It's a bit complicated for me to ask that because it might be a bit out of the boundaries of the questions. I know it's not the specific research you did, but to me, the psychological aspect of all of your work is pretty interesting. Like I understand the survey doing, I understand the asking of the clients and to getting the feedback, but I would like to get a bit more of your knowledge, of your experience out of that. I mean, you've been implementing it for years for many companies. You've been hired as a consultant quite often. So could you talk a bit, like, of course, without naming names or anything like that, but like, what are your experiences on the benefits, on what people often make fault, what are the mistakes that people make, and what were some of the benefits that could be applied to business tactics?
Now, what kind of businesses specifically are you interested in?
I'm open to whatever you want to suggest. I'm not really into a specific niche or industry. I think it can help to listen to advice or to examples, even if you're not in the same industry. I think the more mental aspect, the framework of realizing that something can be done and what benefit it can lead to is more important than the specific industry someone is in. At least
Okay.
that's been, in my opinion, how I learned a lot of stuff. Because, for example, the NIMBY factory, which is a story of, I think, Toyota and GM, was a very interesting example for me personally on how to educate your own people in your company, because it was such a big example. And so I don't think it's too industry specific. I think you can learn, and often should learn, from industries you're not in, because they
Okay.
apply a lot of interesting tactics that your competition doesn't think of.
Okay. Then let me tell you the next most important thing. Finding out what customers want isn't enough. You have to take that information and build that into your service. And since services aren't manufactured products, what that usually means is you have to build that into the standards that you set in your company to deliver to service quality. I'll give you an example. I worked with IBM for many years on their service quality. And one of the things we found out was that customers felt they would call their rep in IBM and they wouldn't get a response. So we established a standard that the rep had to get back to the customer within 2 days, even if it was just to say, I don't have the answer to what you want yet, but I will have it and I will get back to you. That's a standard. Okay. Federal Express had a standard that was built into what their customers thought was most important. And that was right first time on time. Okay. So that meant it went to the right house on the time that it was promised. And FedEx used to have promises like 8:30 or 12:30. Now, UPS, I think, is better at that now, or Amazon is better at that now. You know, when I order something from Amazon, it tells me, okay, you're going to get it tomorrow between this time and this time. That's a promise. So that's gap two. Gap one's finding out what customers want. Gap two is setting up standards to have it done. Gap two also involves new product or new service design. Meaning, okay, suppose the company is a company that makes invitations for bridal showers. All right. It needs to have a process by which it sets it up so that the design matches what the customer wants. And there's a very important tool for that called blueprinting, service blueprinting. and the customer and the people who deliver it all get together and they make this up together.
I think that's a really interesting take, because you said about something, procedures, operations, and standards. It's a really interesting topic, because if I may ask you, with the service industry, it seems, at least what I experienced with people whom I talked to, with clients that I had and such, there is a huge challenge when you're small and you offer a service. It's more individual. I offer this service for like a barber, or as you said, bridal showers, or this or that, or I'm a consultant, and I can adapt myself to deliver the product in a way that I think is good. So it's like a personal style that I've got, or something like that. But once I want to grow, I want to get employees to work for me, a lot of them start to mess it up at that point, because they don't have the clear standards, they don't have the clear procedures, and they don't know how to outsource that thing that made them individually successful.
Exactly. And that's gap 3.
Okay.
The difference between the standards you set and what your employees or your franchises deliver.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a wonderful hairdresser. Okay.
Yeah.
She has her own process. The process is, well, it's probably bad to give you this example because it looks like you don't care how your hair gets fixed. Well, let me give you a hotel as an
Okay.
example. Unfortunately, the hotel I'm using as an example just was hurt by the flood. It was
Okay.
in Cedar Key, Florida,
Yeah.
but it was run by a small family. And so it knew exactly what its customers wanted because it asked on the phone. When you got there, it did everything just nice. And then the family itself did the delivery. Okay, one place. What happens when you are Marriott Hotels and you have to deliver that across the world? But Marriott has its standards. And actually, one of Marriott's possessions is, oh, what's that wonderful hotel called? High-end hotel. Think. Can you think of it?
I'm not that well versed in that industry, I gotta admit. I know
Okay.
Hyatt, Hilton,
Oh.
I know that Hyatt.
No. It's it won the Malcolm Baldrige Award, but I can't think of the name of it right now. The very best hotel you could possibly think of.
Okay.
And this hotel happens to have just the most wonderful standards.
Okay.
And one of the standards is that the the person that greets the customer has been told who's coming into the hotel that day and says, hello, Dr. Zeithamel. Please come right in. We've been waiting for you. Go up to the front desk and, they know who you are. When I stayed at this hotel, in fact, they have a system of collecting information about what frequent guests like. And one time I went in there and I always eat oatmeal for breakfast. I ordered room service oatmeal and I said, but I want cinnamon to go with it. Every time I stayed in there afterward, they sent cinnamon up with my oatmeal.
Well, that's exactly what I mean. This is the little special extra thing that makes it so much more appealing to the client or to the customer. It's unbelievable. These little I think maybe I'm using the wrong word in English, but like these little tricks, this little gadget, this little thing that's not that it's not that expensive to set these things up, but they make a huge, huge, huge upsell for people to experience that. It's unbelievable.
The thing is that they know me.
Yeah,
That's what's important.
you're
Now,
you're
when we
valued
have
as a person, yeah, and recognized.
yes,
Yeah.
now these days there's a lot of trouble with help, getting
Uh-huh.
help.
Okay.
So even if standards are set,
Mm-hmm.
if you go into a retail store
Yeah.
or you go into a restaurant,
Yeah.
the help is not that helpful.
Okay. Okay.
Are
Isn't that?
are you Gen Z or a
No,
millennial?
I think I count as millennial. I'm 36.
Mm.
Thank you for thinking I'm
Mm.
that fresh.
You're
Thank
part
you
of the
very much.
problem.
Yeah,
You're part of the problem.
got a problem? And we're
That's
gonna.
part of the problem.
Okay. Please elaborate. Please tell me why is that?
Well, millennials and Gen Z, this is a generalization, but they don't have the respect for clients the way that others did. And I will tell you from my own experience. Okay, I have been a professor for 50 years. And I wrote the book that we used in the course. I wrote the cases that we used in the course. And I wrote most of the articles that were assigned. Now, I wrote a case. One of the cases I wrote was for Carnival Cruises. Carnival had a big problem because they had a cruise where the engines, one of the engines died, and people didn't have food. People had to sleep in the aisles and all that. I go into a class to start this discussion, and I cold call somebody first because I want them to start. And I cold call Sam. I don't remember his name, but I cold called Sam. And he said, first of all, this is a terrible case. I found on Google that what they said about this case was wrong, that a lot of people had great meals on this case. So I don't know who wrote it, but it's wrong. I wrote the case. This is my student sitting in there.
Okay.
Okay, not all millennials.
Yeah, of course not. It's like a general. Yeah. I understand. It's something I didn't know it was in America. Like it's pretty much. I'm from Europe. You're from America. I hear a lot of this. The millennials and Gen Z doesn't want to work. It's like a pretty common thing to hear from older people. I personally think it's a difference. It's a big difference because I know I've hired a lot of people. I also know the difference between hiring someone who's 40 and someone who's 20, and it's generalized as you say, but the identification with work is way different because
Mm-hmm.
I think the boomer generation is more taking pride in their work. It's more like I gotta do good work. I I identify with the value of work that I created. Well, for many young people, it's not like that.
Right.
I think I don't know if it's like, but I don't know if it's a timing thing because I don't know if the boomers had that when they were 20. You know, it's like who knows if they had. But it's a really weird thing going on right now. And what I personally experienced is manners and politeness. It's a bit hard to get procedures done in that when I go out on meetings, for example, or on events and I meet like people, it's like, hey, you got a startup company. You want your clients, just because I remember right now what I had with a few guys that I met recently. And they were young, they were Gen Z almost, just created the startup and everything. And they were like, oh, yeah, you want to connect with us? Here's our Instagram. And I said, do you have a business card? Oh no, da da da. And in the English speaking world, you don't have something that we have in German. It's like in English, you just use the word you, both formally and privately. In German, there's two different
Two,
forms. Yeah,
two.
there is du and sie. It's like one is the very polite form of you. It's like you only use it with clients or with people you don't know that you're polite with colleagues, with your boss, and so on. And the other form is the form that you use with family, with friends, with people that you know well. And over the last 20 years or so, because of the American culture influence, it's getting more and more that it's only using the informal way. And
Mm.
now a lot of people that are like 40 or 50 or wearing suits or working in companies are like, I don't want someone to use that informal way of addressing me. While others are like, I don't want to work for companies where I have to use that formal version for my superior. Why should I? He's just above me. He's not more
Exactly.
worth than me as a human. So there's a huge cultural thing going on here that's like very weird in my opinion, because I'm like, I like to go with the formal, polite way because I just think it's the right thing to do. But I'm fine with the informal way too. But I think it's like, the reason why there are these polite forms and everything. And I'm not, but we'll see how it develops. I don't want to give a moral value on it. Like I don't want to have people screeching at me in the comments and attack me for that.
Oh, I know.
It's my
Well,
personal opinion.
but
I
to tell
like
you
it.
the truth,
Yeah.
boomers, when we were young, we were just glad to have a job.
Really? Okay. 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 Okay.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I had a lot of different jobs when I was in high school and when I was in college, and
Yeah.
I was just grateful.
Okay.
Hey, Jetla, thanks for the follow. Thank you, thank you.
Okay. 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 And you think today
Cool.
it's not that way anymore with the younger people?
Well, I do know that young people have certain criteria for a job. Let me be just general about it. And I mean, there's always a bell curve, right? Always a bell curve. But they want meaningful work. They don't want necessarily to work for something they don't believe in. They would rather, well, I shouldn't be generalized about this, but what do you think? Would they rather wear flip-flops or high heels?
I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. I'm just, and I will put this online. I don't care. I want people to know my thoughts on this. I'll be honest. I'm the child of a migrant family. So I grew up with almost no money. It was 5 children. We were poor, dirt poor, really. And I mean it, like really, really poor. We didn't even have a room for every one of us. It's like poor. And to me, work, I was brought up and I grew up with work is money. You need money to survive. You need a job to survive. That's it. Like a job has to be of value, to be fun or anything. It was like, are you out of your mind? You get money for your lifetime and you work and that's it. And the only thing you can do is make a deal to get as much money as possible for the time you give away. The only thing
Exactly.
there is to consider is don't be an evil person. That was like my mom was like that. Like you gotta be able to look into the mirror. Like don't screw up people, don't do anything that's malevolent to the people. That's how I was raised. But if you don't do anything malevolent to the people, it's there to make money. That's what you do. You want to buy your children food, you want to pay rent for your children, and so to me it was like a really weird culture shock, even in the same country when I grew up. And I was like then around 18, 20, 25, and I started to get to meet more and more and more middle class people and middle class employees. And suddenly it was like, oh, I want to have value in my work. And I was like, huh? It was like, oh, I'm frustrated because I don't see the value in this work that I do. And I was like, what a value. It's like if my boss pays me to dig a hole and to put the earth into the hole again and to dig it again, if he pays for it, I'll do it. I don't care about the result. I'll do it as good as I can. but it's his job to decide what we got to do. And so it was a real weird culture shock to me to be faced with these kind of people then. And when I started my own businesses, then I started with a few other things, charity organizations, and I had to hire people. It was really like it took me a few years to shift mindset to understand what the problem was for these people.
Mhm.
And in Austria, it's like we've got a way better welfare state than you guys got in America. So it's like you really have to convince someone here to work because they get like 80% of what you get as a wage, you get from welfare for doing nothing. So it's kind of hard to make someone work 40 hours a week if they can get 80% of that for doing nothing. It's really,
So are
really,
you from Austria now?
yep.
I
Born and
love
raised in
Austria.
Austria.
I love Vienna is my favorite city.
Really cool. I'm in Vienna. Well, and my parents are from Eastern Europe. They're down from the Balkans, ex-Yugoslavians. So, in the 90s when there was the war and everything, a completely different way of growing up. It was a completely different way of growing up, going down to meet the family and to have to think about where they bombed, where they killed, was anything destroyed, they need, and you come back here and suddenly people are like, oh, I want to be an artist because I want to express myself. And I recently talked to someone, like 2 years ago, he was a young guy, and he said it ironically, but he was spot on. It was like, people want a job that has meaning, that isn't work, where they're flexible with time, where they make a lot of money and don't have any responsibility. That's basically it. And it's
Yep.
like, if that is what you want, you're going to fall down pretty hard once you start working. It's going to be quite a crash to be confronted with reality. Like, but we'll see how it works. We'll see how it works for this generation. I hope that it works well, but that's why people are so. I recently had a discussion with a psychologist about that in the research. It was like 50 years ago, you had two personas. You went outside of your home and you were someone else. You put on your clothes as a uniform, as a mask, and you were someone else for your colleagues, for the outside world, for the cafe, for the barber. Then you were at home. At home, you came back and you took off the mask. You took off the clothes and you were you. Nowadays, people want to go out into the world and be themselves. And then that's where the psychological issue for some seem, that's what the research said, comes. You go out into the world wanting to be yourself, and then you're not acknowledged as yourself. So you start to have issues with your self image. This is something prior generations didn't have because they were not themselves in public. They knew, I'm putting on the mask. I don't expect anyone at work to care about me. My colleague is not supposed to care about me as a human. I'm just a cog in the machine at work, nothing else. I'll be polite. Maybe I get someone to eat lunch with, and we're going to be on that very shallow social, relationship level. And nowadays, people feel like, oh, my coworkers don't acknowledge me as a person. I feel neglected at that workspace. And so there are huge and interesting conflict zones created right now. So it was really interesting to dive into the psychological aspect of that too, really.
So you have talked a lot about gap 3.
Okay.
Good job.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you about gap 4. That's the only one left.
Okay. Oh,
There's a
man.
gap between what people do and what the organization says is going to happen. That's
Okay.
the communication gap.
Okay.
So if the organization says everybody at our place is going to be friendly,
Yeah.
and instead they're not, that's a gap.
Yeah.
So
That's such an issue because for the viewers that don't know, for example, why McDonald's or other chains are so successful, psychologically, Most people tend to prefer, we don't care about the benefit. Most people don't want to have a negative experience. That means if I go to McDonald's, for example, it's always the same. I know what
Yes.
to expect. I know it's not the best burger, but I know what to expect.
Yes.
And if I go there and it's like a, is it bad or not? Do I get something that's messed up? Even if it's just one of 10 times, I won't go there anymore. I will experience it once or twice and then I won't go there anymore. So what you say is really important. It's that one that one rude person in the company that greets the one entering in a rude way, or is the rude cashier, or like the call center agent that's rude, represents the whole company. And if I experience one or twice that there was something negative, I will tell all of the people that I know, this company is bad, don't work with them. So it's really tough to set up these procedures and standards, as you said. It's really,
But
yeah,
think Disney.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
those who are adults might not, think Disney's all that sexy,
yeah,
but you go to Disney, you get
mm,
the same thing.
yeah. Well,
The
at least for a
children,
long time, it was like that. As far as I heard, I'm not too experienced. They shifted slightly in the last like 5 to 10 years, or is that wrong? With the experience in the parks and everything, as far as I heard.
no. Now,
Okay.
Disney Europe, Disney France is
Yeah.
different
Ah. Okay. Okay.
because
Okay.
Disney France,
Yeah.
people in France don't like, workers in France
Yeah.
don't like to be told what to do.
Okay. Okay.
Disney Hong Kong's great. Disney in
Okay.
the US, superb.
Okay. Okay. So you think there are also regional differences in for companies how easy it is to enforce these standards and these procedures?
Well, we do know that when Disney went to France, they had a lot of trouble. And the trouble was in with the workers, trying to get the workers to smile on cue, and because people felt like, I don't want to do that.
Okay. And you can't just say, okay, we don't hire these kind of people. We you don't do it, you get fired. We're gonna take someone else. Didn't work out.
You can try.
Okay.
So what they did actually,
Yeah.
when it opened, they took a whole lot of people from the US and put them into that.
Yeah. Wow.
And but when they tried to hire locally, it wasn't quite as easy.
Okay.
Some of your viewers are not going to like what I say, are they?
They're
It's
not gonna
French.
like a few of the things that I said either. Let's be honest. That's the important thing. I'm not doing this to be liked by as many people as possible. I want to give value to the people who want to be successful, who are curious, who want to learn stuff. And sometimes you gotta tell unpleasant truths. That's just part of the game. I'm gonna be honest. It's like I'm in consulting. I often work with companies. I often work with clients. And one of the things that I myself, as a brand, so to speak, have developed was I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff. I'm not going to come to you and say, "Oh, you're all so awesome," and hey, your feelings and everybody's valued. I'm going to come and say, "Well, this is bullshit, and this is a waste of time and energy, and this person or this person has to be fired because they're not good enough." That's just the way it is. You can't be successful without being honest. I mean, on the other side, I also think you don't have to be a jerk. Some people misunderstand and mistake the being honest and being factual with being rude. No, I don't like that. I
Yes.
think I think you can be polite. I think you can have all the manners that you need. You don't need to insult anyone. People are different. I understand that different people have different goals. That's also absolutely fine. You're not wrong because you're looking for something else. But sometimes stuff will contradict each other. As you said, for example, with the, do you want to have responsibility? Do you want to be part of something where you think you have impact? If you want to have impact, you will have to have responsibility. And if you want responsibility, you won't have freedom. those two things are contradicting each other. You can't be free and responsible for something big and valuable. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
So it's always a trade-off. And here on this channel, I want to be honest and give people value and information. And the trade-off is sometimes hurting some feelings, and I'm fine with that.
Okay. But I don't like to hurt clients' feelings.
Mm.
I like to find other ways to deal with clients' feelings.
Then tell me a bit, how do you handle situations where it's like, oh man, I gotta say something negative. I just have to tell them this does not work what they're doing, or this and this is not the right path to success for them. And then you have someone who's emotionally invested into this situation because, as you know, in big corporations sometimes there were fights for 1 or 2 years inside politics to get to this solution, and someone is really really invested into them. And if that solution is not used, they might lose their position, all of their political weight they have in these corporations. Maybe their whole career is on danger. So how do you
Okay, I'll give you two examples. One is one-on-one. Another one is at the whole organization level. Okay. One-on-one, the most important thing is to listen. I see. I see your point. I understand that what you really think is right is this. You're not promising anything. I mean, that's what airlines stewardesses and stewards do when all the things are wrong with the airline. And that's what they should do. Now, if you're talking about from a whole corporate point of view, we call it the customer pyramid. And we have a paper on that. And it's that you sort your customers into, at the top are your platinum customers, then your gold customers, then your silver customers, then your lead customers. Lead customers are those who every time they interact with you, they're costing you money. You have to find a way to interact with them that doesn't cost you money. Online. Send them online.
like to contact form and so on and so on, or what? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a platinum customer. This is a little bit like airline stuff, but a little bit more. Okay. I'm a platinum customer of American Express. I have my own telephone number that I can reach their contact center if I have anything I need. All the other levels can't do that. But I pay $900 a year to have that.
Okay. 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 I I gotta ask you because you mentioned something, and I know we don't have that much time, sadly, because you're really interesting to talk to you. I've had a lot of fun, pleasure talking with you. But you said something that I want just to focus a bit on before we have to quit, the aspect of online. A lot of what we discussed was general general experiences that were valued and applied for centuries, you could say. The game has changed, or would you say the game has changed or not ever since the social media landscape with the more data driven, with more, it's easier to get feedback from the customers nowadays. It's easier to get like what they like, how they interacted with the page. Do you think there has been anything that's really changed the game? Or is it still the same game and it's just a few other tools that were added? Or what do
Oh,
you
it's changed the game immensely.
Okay. In what ways do you think?
Well, you can get immediate feedback from your customers. When I'm online with Facebook, Instagram. I don't use Twitter, but if I have looked up a piece of clothing from a site, next time I get on Facebook, that piece of clothing is right there. Okay. Or same thing with a service. I mean, there are immense differences. And people tried to use ServQual to measure that stuff. And we said, ServQual is not the right thing. That's why we came up with ESQual, electronic service quality. It's a different measure.
What would you say? How could you explain to a layman what the differences are, like in general?
Most important thing online is efficiency, getting to the place you want to get to fast, and privacy. The most important thing in ServQual is reliability, doing what you said you're going to do.
Okay. Really interesting. Reliability in the ServQual, and privacy and efficiency in the online spaces. That's an interesting mix. That's really an interesting mix. Because I personally had the experience back in the days from when I was young. As I said, I had many different jobs, from construction work to restaurants to anything that could pay. And I remember I worked for a little restaurant that went somewhat well. And the boss there was like, we don't put how do you say, these little servietten,
Napkins?
napkins. Thank you very much. Yeah, like we don't put these little napkins on the places. And I said, why not? It looks nice, because the customer doesn't pay it. Each thing that the customer wants, that the guest wants, every little thing is a price on it. If the customer is ready to pay $5 more for it, then we do that. And I think it ties nicely into what you said. Well, you're willing to pay those 900 extra for the American Express to get that number. Are you willing to pay that extra on the Marriott hotel? It costs more than the cheapest Airbnb, but you get another experience for it. So as a service provider, should I maybe, like, how important is it to watch out in what budget area you are? Maybe just for the people who listen to this. What are you able to deliver to make yourself stand out and to be better and to give the customer the best experience that they want while staying in that, how should I say it, in that price bracket that they are willing to pay? And that's really
Well,
interesting, the quality and the gap
you know,
that you, yeah.
in the United States, you have to give people napkins
Okay.
because
No,
if you don't, they're going to spill all over themselves. They're going to drip all over
yeah.
themselves.
No. Yeah, of course. I didn't mean it like that. I mean this. You like origami. You can make these napkins really looking
I
cute,
see.
nice, and
Yeah,
everything. You
you were
just
doing
pop out,
too
there you
much.
go on the space, and that's
You
it.
were doing too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, price is a whole other topic.
yeah.
Price is part of Gap 4. But we're almost out of time. You'll have to
Yeah.
call me again and we'll talk again.
I would love to. You're awesome to talk to. As again, for the viewers, I will link below a few of the papers of the books. There are many books she wrote that are awesome together with other people. I think it's absolutely worth it to take a look into it, really. No matter what industry you're in. I mean, of course, no matter what industry, if you're in the service industry, of course. But like in the service industries, there are many different fields where I think looking up that research, to consider it, to really put it into the business plan and to reflect upon it can be of immense value to many of you. Guys, with that, I think we're finished. Valerie, it was a great pleasure to talk to you. I thank you very much for the time you took. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I wish you and your family just the very best. Thank you very much for having been
Thank
here on
you.
the show.
Hey guys, the next article in the line: ChatGPT appears to use Google search as a fallback. I have to admit, I'm not so sure what about this is so surprising. I assumed that anyway, so let's jump right into it. Written by Roger Monti. Let's see. Experiments appear to confirm that ChatGPT may be using Google search results as a fallback when Bing doesn't have a page index. Okay, now I get it. Now I get it. Okay. Google search as a fallback if Bing doesn't work. Aleda Solis conducted an experiment to test how fast ChatGPT indexes a web page and unexpectedly discovered that ChatGPT appears to use Google search results as a fallback for web pages that it cannot access or that are not yet indexed on Bing. According to Aleda, I hope I pronounced the name correctly. If not, I'm sorry. I've run a simple but straightforward to follow test that confirms the reliance of ChatGPT on Google search snippets for its answers. Created a new web page not yet indexed. Aleda created a brand new page titled llms.txt generators on her website, learningaisearch.com. She immediately tested ChatGPT with web search enabled to see if it could access or locate the page, but ChatGPT failed to find it. ChatGPT responded with the suggestion that the URL was not publicly indexed or possibly outdated. She then asked Google Gemini about the web page, which successfully fetched and summarized the live page content. Submitted web page for indexing. She next submitted the web page for indexing via Google Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools. Google successfully indexed the web page, but Bing had problems with it. After several hours elapsed, Google started showing results for the page with the site operator and with a direct search for the URL. With the site operator, but Bing continued to have trouble indexing the web page. Check ChatGPT until it used Google search snippet. I later went back to ChatGPT and after several tries it gave her an incomplete summary of the page content, mentioning just one tool that was listed on it. When she asked ChatGPT for the origin of that incomplete snippet, it responded that it was using a caged snippet via web search, likely from search engine indexing. He confirmed that the snippet shown by ChatGPT matched Google's search result snippet, not Bing's, which still hadn't indexed it. Alida explained, a snippet from where? When I followed up asking where was that snippet, they grabbed the information being shown. The answer was that it had located a caged snippet via web search that previews the page content, likely from search engine indexing. But I knew the page wasn't indexed yet in Bing, so it had to be Google search results. I went to check. When I compared the text snippet provided by ChatGPT versus the one shown in Google search results, for the specific Learning AI Search LLMS.text generators page, I could confirm it was the same information. Not an isolated incident. A latest article on her finding confirmed ChatGPT uses Google SERP snippets for its answers. A test with proof. Link to that article also in the down below. Links to someone else's webpage summarizes a similar experience where ChatGPT used a Google snippet, so she's not the only one to experience this. Proof that traditional SEO remains relevant for AI search. Aleda also documented what happened on a LinkedIn post where Kyle Atwater morally shared his observation. So ChatGPT is basically piggybacking off Google snippets to generate answers. What a wake-up call for anyone thinking traditional SEO is dead. Yeah, I've been saying that on multiple videos at this point too. Like, we see it happening over and over and over again that these AIs, in the most gracious form, they just look at the SERP, at the search results from search engines and then go through those pages. So having your page in a good position on the search result is still absolutely fundamental. Which brings us to SEO being really important. Stéphane Bureau shared his opinion on what's going on. If Bing's results are insufficient, it appears to fall back to scraping Google SERP snippets. He elaborated on his post with more details later on in the discussion. Based on current evidence, here's my refined theory. When browsing is enabled, ChatGPT sends search requests via Bing first. as seen in DevTools logs. However, if Bing's results are insufficient or outdated, it appears to fall back to scraping Google SERP snippets, likely via an undocumented proxy or secondary API. This explains why some replies contain verbatim Google snippets that never appear in Bing API responses. I've seen multiple instances that align with this dual source behavior. Takeaway: ChatGPT was initially unable to access the page directly, and it was only after the page began to appear in Google search results that it was able to respond to questions about the page. Once the snippet appeared in Google search results, ChatGPT began referencing it, revealing a reliance on publicly visible Google search snippets as a fallback when the same data is unavailable in Bing. And we're back to Google. What would be interesting to see is whether the server logs held a clue as to whether ChatGPT attempted to crawl the page, and if so, what error code was returned in response to the failure to retrieve the data. It's curious that ChatGPT was unable to retrieve the page, and though it probably doesn't have any bearing on the conclusions, it would still contribute to making the conclusions feel more complete to have that last bit of information closed off. Nevertheless, it appears that this is yet more proof that standard SEO is still applicable for AI-powered search, including for ChatGPT search. This adds to recent comments by Gary Ilias that confirms that there's no need for specialized GEO or AEO in order to rank well in Google AI Overview and AI Mode. I wrote some interesting articles. I liked it quite a lot. You can find them on Google. Really, that was an interesting one. We've seen it again and again and again. I'm telling you guys, SEO is still important. We still want to be positioned well in the SERPs, in the search result pages, in the listing to be relevant for the AI overviews and for the chatbots and so on. More and more and more data leads us to that. So I hope you learned something today again. We're going through a few more articles, my daily attempt to learn more and to become better at what I do. Research is important and fundamental. If you like what I do, if you appreciate what I do, please consider supporting the channel, a like, subscription, just 1 or 2 clicks, subscribe to the channel, like it, leave a comment, anything that helps the YouTube algorithm see, hey, that's a nice channel, would be very, very much appreciated. You can sign up for my newsletter down below so you stay informed about events, live Q&A sessions and so on. And with that, I'll leave you be. You'll see a few other videos appearing most likely, and wish you the best. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm pretty curious. Google brought out a new system that allows us to connect our data directly with the MCP or an LLM, so that we don't have to look into all kind of different menus and reports and everything, and just have an agent that we can talk with. Like, okay, what is the best product that I've sold last week? How many Google ad paid services do I need? What is the best campaign that I'm running right now? What is this CCP, for example? So that's how I understand it. Now, this is the official video about it. We're gonna watch it together, and you're gonna get my reaction.
Hello and welcome. I'm Matt Landers, Head of Developer Relations for Google Analytics. And in this video, I'm going to show you our MCP server for Google Analytics. And if you don't know what that is, it's a Model Context Protocol server, which allows us to connect an LLM like Gemini to a system like Analytics, and essentially allows us to chat with our data. So let's go ahead and dive right in and see what's possible. All right, I'm going to use the new Gemini CLI in order to do this. So you can use any client that supports MCP servers, and the new Gemini CLI does. So I'm just going to type Gemini. This will bring up the Gemini interface, and this is just like using Gemini on the web. It is an agent. It'll go out. It will try to satisfy whatever question you ask. Well, we've connected it to our MCP server. You can see that here. And the configuration for this is on our GitHub, and you can do this yourself today. So let's just go ahead and ask it a question. How many users did I have yesterday? So it should go out and probably ask me what property I want to work with. I've used.
For those who don't know what that is, it's a terminal view. Right now, it seems that it's only accessible through the terminal, which means it's text-based. We'll see how, if you don't know what a terminal is in general, leave a comment. I can make a little video about it. And of course, subscribe to the newsletter so you stay informed when I get such when I post such information. But now let's go.
Used this before, so it has some context. It may just answer itself. Let's see what happens. All right, it's asking me, can I use the MCP server? I'm going to say yes. It's going out, making the query, and it did it. So we had 3,082 users yesterday. So that's pretty cool. We were just able to ask a question. It figured out how to go get that data from analytics and satisfy that query. So let's ask it another question. Like, what were my top selling products over the last month?
Now that
now it should be able to go out, figure out how to set up that query, get the data back, and show it to us in a decent way. All right, so now it's come back with what our top products were for the last month. And you can see that the Super G Brick puzzle set is selling pretty well right now. And you can see that it came back by item revenue, not necessarily by units sold. So we could say, how about by units sold? And it can go modify that query and come back with a new answer based on different criteria that we've given it. So we're just chatting with the LLM here. All right, and now we see our results in a different view, which is how many units were sold. All right, we can take it even further. Let's say that we have a marketing budget that we've been given, and we want to see what Gemini can come up with the plan.
I mean, in general, it's really interesting. I think that's great for users who are not that well versed with the technical aspect of getting reports, of having data, of having a lot of columns and lines and graphs and so on. Problem is, those users most likely are not the type to understand how well to work with a terminal and how to set it up. But depending on how easy it is to interact with it once it's set up, that might be a really interesting thing to consider. I like that. Could be an interesting service to set it up for clients who don't know how to set it up or aren't good enough to interact with it if it's good enough. Well, we're gonna look at it. One thing that I'm a bit nervous about is the typical, okay, it's an AI, it's an LLM. How correct is the data? Like, we all made the experience that in some LLM, the mathematics are not the best, or that strawberry has 5 R's and so on. So I'm a bit, I would like to know how correct it is and how certain.
Plan for this website to generate more revenue based on that marketing budget. So let's ask. I have a marketing budget of $5K a month, and I need to generate more revenue. Help me come up with a plan that will drive sales. Run any reports that you need to justify this plan. All right, we're gonna send that off and see what Gemini comes back with. It'll take a couple of minutes, but we'll...
Again, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a great thing. I think those things will lead to many interesting outcomes and developments. But I just want to share with you, I've tested a lot of AI and given the data from clients and from myself and so on. Like, for example, here are 10 posts, what could we do better? Which are the best posts in your opinion or not, and so on. And some of the best working posts that this client had on its social media, and that was LinkedIn, the AI said, oh, those will be bad posts, they won't work at all because X, Y, Z, da, da, da. So don't forget, LLMs work on the premise of statistical data. They don't analyze the result as most likely. They analyze only what response is most likely. What word should be the next one to follow. So be a bit careful about that. You will most likely get the answers that are the most likely answers, which means most people do that. And sometimes what most people do, what most people posted, what most people write about is not the best solution.
Skip to that. All right, so Gemini has come back with a plan for us that can help us use that budget in order to drive more sales.
Still really,
we can
really
see that it's gone in and said, it gave us some initiatives that we should do. We have a total budget of 5,000. We should run Google ads on search and shopping, do some paid social, and an email marketing campaign. It comes through and it shows you the justification for all of this. These are the different campaigns that it's come up with for the different strategies. But if we scroll up, we'll see that it actually ran some reports to try to figure this out as well. So it says that our direct and organic search are a powerhouse, driving over $419,000 in revenue. This it gives you all of this data about how it came up with its decision on how it should run this, how you should use this money to drive more sales, driving over $419,000.
Okay, it analyzes where the data come from. For example, here it says, oh, you have had over 419,000 in revenue. It means that it's already worked well. Okay. Checks the audience, the age bracket, checks the best. Okay,
revenue.
interesting.
This it gives you all of this data about how it came up with its decision on how it should run this, how you should use this money to drive more sales on your website. So there's many more things that we could sit here and chat with Gemini about our analytics data, but I just wanted to give you a taste of what's possible. Now we're really interested to see what you do with this new technology and how you can integrate it into either your marketing workflow, or if you're a developer, how you might use this MCP server to build agents that can go out, use the analytics data to then help marketers make better decisions for their site, or maybe automate some workflows. Check out the GitHub link in the description in order to get this set up on your machine.
Yeah, of course, I will link it in the description below too.
Feel free to leave issues there or join our Discord server and tell us how it's going, what you want us to change, and if there's any issues that you're having. All right, I'm really excited to see what all of you do with this. Hopefully you're inspired to go build something new, and I can't wait to see what you all do. All right, happy measuring.
Okay, really interesting. Really, 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 really cool. Kind of cool. I've got to admit, I mean, you just got to think about what that means for all of us. Like, the reports are being automated. It's easier for a normal person to ask in a language model to just speak with it, just talk with it. That will be one hell of an interesting task. That will be an interesting development. Of course, I will keep you informed. I'll most likely join the Discord. Want to have all that information and stuff. And if you like what I do, if you want to support this channel, feel free, like, subscribe, 1 or 2 clicks, and it's tremendous help for me and this channel. On the other side, I'm sure some videos will be appearing right now, and I wish you all the very best. Bye! So, this article, Google's John Mueller core updates built on long-term data. Alright, let's see what this is about. Google says core updates rely on long-term patterns, not recent link spam. Should you disavow? Here's what John Mueller told SEO professionals. Highlights. Core updates don't consider recent spam links, according to Google's John Mueller. Disavow tool is rarely needed but still available for edge cases. SEO pros continue pressing Google for more transparency on link handling. Written by Matt G. Southern. He's got a few nice articles, so you can absolutely follow him. Also, as usual, a link to the article will be in the description below. Google search advocate John Mueller. This looks better. John Mueller says core updates rely on longer-term patterns rather than recent site changes or link spam attacks. The comment was made during a public discussion on Blue Sky, where SEO professionals debated whether a recent wave of spammy backlinks could impact rankings during a core update. Mueller's comment offers timely clarification as Google rolls out its June core update. Core updates aren't influenced by recent links. Asked directly whether recent link spam would be factored into core update evaluations, Mueller said, offhand, I can't think of how these links would play a role with the core updates. It's possible there's some interactions that I'm not aware of, but it seems really unlikely to me. Also, core updates generally built on longer term data, so something really recent wouldn't play a role. Okay. For those concerned about negative SEO tactics, Mueller's statement suggests recent spam links are unlikely to affect how Google evaluates a site during a core update. Link spam and visibility concerns. Conversation began with SEO consultant Martin McGarry, who shared traffic data suggesting spam attacks were impacting sites targeting high-value keywords. In a post linking to recent SEG articles, McGarry wrote, SEG is Search Engine Journal. This is traffic up in a high-value keyword and the blue line is spammers attacking it. As you can see, traffic disappears as clear as day. Can we see it? Just trying to see if we can get the link. Martin SEO McGarry. I don't believe Google has a handle on the current... I don't believe Google has a handle on the current scale of link spam in certain verticals. This is traffic up in a high-value keyword and the blue line is spammers attacking it. As you can see, traffic disappears as clear as day. Well, can you guys see it? Yeah, here. The blue line is spamming attack and you can see the traffic is going down. Okay, really interesting. Mark Williams Cook responded by referencing earlier commentary from a Google representative at the SEO FOMO event where it was suggested that in most cases, links were not the root cause of visibility loss, even when the timing seemed suspicious. Okay. This aligns with the broader theme in recent SEO discussions. It's often difficult to prove that link-based attacks are directly responsible for ranking drops, especially during major algorithm updates. Google's position on the disavow tool. Yep. As the discussion turned to mitigation strategies, Mueller reminded the community that Google's disavow tool remains available, though it's not always necessary. Mueller said you can also use the domain point directive in the disavow file to cover a whole TLD if you're plus minus certain that there are no good links for your site there. He added that the tool is often misunderstood or overused. It's a tool that does what it says. Almost nobody needs it, but if you think your case is exceptional, feel free. Pushing it as a service to everyone says a bit about the SEO though. That final remark drew pushback from McGarry, who clarified that he doesn't sell cleanup services and only uses the disavow tool in carefully reviewed edge cases. Okay, bit of heat going on there, huh, in the discussions. Should we go through the thread? Nah, we don't want to air dirty laundry. We don't care about the drama. We want the information. The community calls for more transparency. Alan Bleweis, as usual, sorry if I butchered the name, joined the conversation by calling for Google to share more data about how many domains are already ignored algorithmically. That would be the best way to put site owners at ease. I think there's a psychology to all this cat and mouse wording without backing it up with data. Well, I understand that people want Google to be more open and more transparent. I would like it, but at the same time, I know, and you guys know it as well, we would game it. We would min-max it to the extreme. Every shred of information they give us, any little bit of data, we use to min-max the game. Okay? Let's be honest. Marketers ruin everything. It's our fault. We look for loopholes and hacks and tricks and the data and analyze it until we optimize it in a way that makes it bad for the end user. Let's be honest. His comment reflects a broader sentiment. Many professionals still feel in the dark about how Google handles potentially manipulative or low-quality links at scale. What this means. Mueller's comments offer guidance for anyone evaluating ranking changes during a core update. Recent link spam is unlikely to influence a core update. Core updates are based on long-term patterns, not short-term changes. This disavow tool is still available, but rarely needed in most cases. Google systems may already discount low-quality links automatically. If your site has seen changes in visibility since the start of June core update, these insights suggest looking beyond recent link activity. Instead, focus on broader long-term signals such as content quality, site structure, and overall trust. Matt G. Southern. Good article. I liked it. Was good. Okay. Someone asked, what is a disavow tool? Okay, it's a pretty basic thing. It's a tool Google made where you can say, I want you to ignore these links that link back to my page because I don't think it's a good link. That way you can. Why is that even necessary? Okay, let's clear it up. There are offers on the internet to get you on link farms and link pages and stuff where it's like, oh, pay me $100 and I'll make sure you have 1,000 backlinks. But those backlinks are low quality. They're very bad. They're placed in places that Google knows are bad places and cheap links. And so if you have too many of those bad links, it just causes Google to say, oh, your domain is bad, you cheated, and so on. We don't want to rank you high anymore. And so for you to save yourself and to, for example, not have a competition do that to you, you can say, whoa. These links, these backlinks, I'm clearly saying I don't like them, don't count them in. Don't consider them. It's not me who wants them. It's not me who has made them. I don't want to be associated with that source of backlinks. Basically, that is how you could interpret it. As usual, I go through news updates, sometimes basic questions, research papers, all of that kind of stuff with you on this channel live so that you can ask stuff. If you like what I do, if you appreciate it, leave a like. A comment is cool. Subscribe to the channel. It's 1 or 2 clicks. It's the best way you can support this channel. And with that, this channel is finished and we're going right to the next one. All right, let's go into the next question. How to add club activities in LinkedIn? Ah, you mean on your profile? Okay. Usually if you have club activities, I would generally advise to put them in the, at the end you have like the charity free time, where what you do in your free time. If the club that you participated in has a LinkedIn account, great, you can link it directly. Usually not that often, in all honesty, but just write it into your voluntary charity area at the bottom of the page, if on the bottom of your profile. Wait a moment, maybe I can, let me pull it up and show you. Now, is my profile in English or in German right now? So let me, there you can see it. All right, so here we go. That's my profile. Also, guys, you can link it, you can like me. Education, volunteering. I know it does not quite fit the description, but I would here under volunteering add what you've been doing, because technically it's volunteering if you've been in a club. Depends on the club, of course, but I would put it into this. Hope this helps a bit. So let's go to the next question. So we just read the article about how ChatGPT seems to use Google as a fallback, Google search as a fallback for finding stuff. And now we're going through what Google says. You don't need AEO or GEO to rank in AI overviews. Okay? So why is that important? What to expect with that? I haven't read the article myself. I don't read the articles before I go through them live with you guys. Important aspect in the industry right now, a few people or like many agencies try to say, oh, you need specialized different services, SEO is dead, you need completely different ball game, the rules are different and everything, because AI search is now here with the AI overview or chatbots and so on. And some people in the industry say, nah, not really. So let's go through it together. Article is written by Roger Monti. So Google's Gary Ilias confirmed that AEO or GEO is not necessary. Standard SEO is all you need to rank in AI search. What does that mean? Google's Gary Ilias confirmed that AI search does not require specialized optimization, saying that AI SEO is not necessary and that standard SEO is all that is needed for both AI overviews and AI mode. AI search is everywhere. Standard search, the way it used to be with link algorithms playing a strong role, no longer exists. AI is embedded within every step of the organic search results, from crawling to indexing and ranking. Okay? AI has been a part of Google search for 10 years, beginning with RankBrain and expanding from there. Google's Gary Ilias made it clear that AI is embedded within every step of today's search ranking process. Kenichi Suzuki, LinkedIn profile, posted a detailed summary of what Ilias discussed, covering 4 main points. AI search features use the same infrastructure as traditional search. 1. AI search optimization is SEO. 2. Google's focus is on content quality and is agnostic as to how it was created. 3. AI is deeply embedded into every stage of search. 4. Generative AI has unique features to ensure reliability. Okay, let's go through them. There's no need for AEO or GEO. The SEO community has tried to wrap their minds around AI search, with some insisting that ranking in AI search requires an approach to optimization so distinct from SEO that it warrants its own acronym. Other SEOs, including an SEO rockstar, have insisted that optimizing for AI search is fundamentally the same as standard search. So far, I'm in that camp. I've got to admit, for me, it seems that basic SEO practices are what is important. Now, maybe you can argue about some little changes in how it's worded, or like the LLMS.txt and such. But to me, so far, it seems very much that normal SEO is what gets you on the good pages of a search result, and the good search result places are what the AI uses to get AI overviews, or what ChatGPT and all the other bots use. I'm not saying that one group of SEOs is right and the another is wrong. The SEO community collectively discussing a topic and reaching different conclusions is one of the few things that doesn't change in search marketing. True, absolutely true. The most common answer to any question is it depends. According to Google, ranking in AI overviews and AI mode requires only standard SEO practices. Suzuki shared why AI search doesn't require different optimization strategies. Their core message is that new AI-powered features look like AI overviews and the AI mode are built upon the same fundamental processes as traditional search. They utilize the same crawler, Googlebot, the same core index, and are influenced by the same ranking systems. They repeatedly emphasize this with the phrase "same as above" to signal that a separate, distinct strategy for AI SEO is unnecessary. The foundation of creating high-quality, helpful content remains the primary focus. Content quality is not about how it's created. The second point that Google made was that their systems are tuned to identify content quality, and that identifying whether the content was created by human or AI is not part of that quality assessment. Gary Ilias is quoted as saying, "We are not trying to differentiate based on origin. According to Kenichi, the objective is to identify and reward high quality, helpful, and reliable content, regardless of whether it was created by human or with the assistance of AI." And next, AI is embedded within every stage of search. The third point that Google emphasized is that AI plays a role at every stage of search: crawling, indexing, and ranking. Regarding the ranking part, Suzuki wrote, "RankBrain helps interpret novel queries, while the multitask unifies model MOM understands information across various formats: text, images, video, and 75 different languages. Unique processes of generative AI features." The fourth point that Google emphasized is to acknowledge that AI overviews does two different things at the ranking stage. Point one, query fanout generates multiple queries in order to provide deeper answers to queries using the query fanout technique. Okay, what does a query fanout mean? Just as a little example. Let's say I search for what are the best shoes. This is one query. And now the bot says, okay, that could mean a few things. We want to consolidate data. And instead of just using that one query of what are the best shoes, it creates a few queries like what are the best running shoes? What are the best shoes in quality? What are the best shoes for sports? What are the best shoes for outdoor climbing? What are the best shoes in 2025? What are the best shoes for men? And so on. And then it has like a few different queries that it searches all on its own. It compares all the different search results that it gets, all the different pages, so to speak, and then conglomerates those answers into the overviews and decides which to link. Grounding. AI overviews checks the generated answers against online sources to make sure that they are factually accurate, a process called grounding. Suzuki explains, it then uses a process called grounding to check the generated text against the information in its search index, a crucial step designed to verify facts and reduce the risk of AI hallucinations. All right, so the takeaways: AI SEO versus traditional SEO. Google explicitly states that specialized AI SEO is not necessary. Standard SEO practices remain sufficient to rank in AI-driven search experiences. Integration of AI in Google search. AI technology is deeply embedded across every stage of Google's organic search: crawling, indexing, and ranking. Technologies like Rank Brain and the multitask unified model, MOM, are foundational to Google's current search ranking system. Google's emphasis on content quality. Okay, we already, yeah, it's just repeating the same. Okay. It's important, good quality, generative AI specific techniques, query, I gotta admit, these are the things I don't like about our modern internet, that it's always this SEO optimized articles that repeat again and again and again. But Google clarified that there's no need for AEO, GEO for Google AI overviews in the AI mode. Standard search engine optimization is all that's needed to rank across both standard and AI-based search. Content quality remains an important part of Google's algorithms, and they made a point to emphasize that they don't check whether content is created by human or AI. Important aspect, because some people were pretty nervous about using AI tools to write pages. Again, what is the quality of them? Will it be penalized or not? There was a lot of discussion. We'll see a lot of discussion about AI focused search results too. Now you at least heard it officially from Google. As usual, I hope you like it. I'll be going through a few more articles today. If you like what I do, if you want to support the channel, leave me a like, subscribe to the channel. It's 1 or 2 clicks. It's the best way you can support this channel. I'll have my link to the newsletter below. You can sign up so you stay informed for events, live Q&A sessions, other stuff. And of course, I think you will see other videos popping up now. As usual, I wish you all the best. Bye. Okay, this is an article that's really interesting to hear. It's a bit older, but I still think it's interesting. More about the general and shitification of the internet, in all honesty. The man who killed Google search. We all experience it. We all seem to have that gut feeling of Google search has gotten worse. It's gotten worse. And it seems that after even research papers pointed out, it's not subjective, it's true. And this article seems to give us, written by Edward Citron, a link.
Joe, I thank you very.
Hey guys, I stumbled upon a very interesting article, at least from the topic. I haven't read it yet. As usual, I read it live with you guys. How keyboard traps impact web accessibility. In Europe, we just had the web accessibility law come in place and be enacted. And so I've been auditing like 200 or 300 pages in the last month. And man, many of them are screwed up and not done well in a web accessibility perspective. Way too many designers use the H1, H2, H3 structure and so on as design elements instead of structuring it for readers. So I'm very curious about the accessibility aspects. I've had interviews in German for my German speaking channel with our national certification organizations and so on. So I'm really curious about this. I always want to do it well, because I think we owe it to the people who are blind, who have any issues like can't see or many different things, to make the web as accessible for them as possible. So I'm always eager to learn about blind spots that I might have had. So I hope you guys are as curious as I am, and let's go through it. How keyboard traps impact web accessibility. Discover how keyboard traps affect accessibility and learn practical solutions to create barrier-free web navigation. Written by Team A11Y Collective. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. Link to them will be in the description below. Imagine trying to navigate a website where you can enter information but can't move to the next field. Or perhaps you've opened a drop-down menu but can't escape it. Frustrating, right? These situations, known as keyboard traps, create significant barriers for many web users. For people who rely solely on keyboard navigation, whether due to motor impairment, temporary injuries, or personal preference, these roadblocks can render websites completely unusable. According to the 2024 WebAIM Screen Reader User Survey, lack of keyboard accessibility remains one of the most problematic issues on the web. Surprisingly, this problem has persisted largely unchanged for the past 14 years. Oh man, yeah, it's so many web devs, so many web designers don't don't care, don't even know about these web accessibility things. Like, it's not, if you know about it and if you understand what you have to do, it's really not that much more work. When you set it up, you can take the ARIA labels, you can get all of these little things like the keyboard, the structure with the H1, the font sizes, the colors. So
Yeah, just let me
that the
test
contrast is
something.
high enough.
Just a short moment, because this is laggy as hell. What's going on with this computer? What's going on? Losing 50 to 80% of all frames. Even though CPU is less than 40% used and the GPU is free and the RAM is free and everything has got still. Let's see how this goes on. Let's just... Insane. Why is it losing so much right now suddenly? Okay. Now it works somewhat again. What was going on there? It was a bit insane. Let's see. I'll click the video again, play, and then we see what happens. Maybe
All
that's
of these
the
little
issue.
things, like you can in the CSS set it up for motion sickness, that not all animations are shown. There are so many things that you can just build into it as you go without additional work, really, if you know what you're doing. So please, guys, learn about it. And if you don't want to learn about it, but just want to hire someone, ask them about it. Get someone who's good at it. And if you want to have your page checked, feel free to reach out and make audits for such things. So, in this article, we'll explore what keyboard traps are, why they matter for web accessibility, common issues you might encounter, and most importantly, how to identify and prevent them in your web development projects. What are keyboard traps and why do they matter for accessibility? A keyboard trap occurs when a keyboard user can navigate to an interactive element on a web page but cannot move away from it using standard keyboard controls. Essentially,
very weird.
the focus gets trapped within that element, preventing further navigation. These traps commonly appear in input boxes where the tab key does not allow you to exit. Drop-down menus that
Security software
events,
suddenly doing...
modal dialogues
with modern computers, they do whatever they want at whatever time they want. They don't care what you do.
Keyboard behavior. For keyboard only users,
They just do whatever they want, no matter what is running on your computer. It just restarts, just does whatever it wants, does not care in the slightest. I've had some rendering projects of mine just get completely annihilated. Yeah. Who allowed you to do a security update in this moment? Still just insanity. And then why is this? That's not connect. Yes. Yeah. What is going on? The GPU is completely 3D. Why is the 3D handle?
developers testing through keyboard navigation. It's actually much faster. Power users who prefer keyboard shortcuts for efficiency. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, WCAG, directly address this issue in Success Criterion 2.2, no keyboard trap. If keyboard focus can be moved to a component of the page using a keyboard interface, then focus can be moved away from test. Okay. Let me test something else. Let's see if I just go into this mode. Immediately works. Immediately loses a lot of the resources. Okay. Yep. Immediately much more fluent. Interesting, isn't it? Just can't handle the video. But suddenly it worked for days and hours. Hours and hours and hours. It's not hot. What is going on? No way. Mm. Mm. Okay, this is an interesting test for now. So let's go back to this and see what happens now. Stuff and using like page
Immediately
builders and
bumps
stuff
up
where
to
these
extreme.
things are just not implemented. So that's my take on it. However, this customization comes at a cost. When developers create custom UI components, such as drop-down menus, modals, or navigation elements, they sometimes bypass standard HTML elements in favor of custom JavaScript-based solutions. Sure, this can provide more flexibility in designs and behavior, but it inevitably introduces significant accessibility challenges, including keyboard traps. Without proper focus management and keyboard control, users can become stuck in a custom component, unable to navigate to other parts of the page. Imagine a modal dialog that opens when a user clicks a button. If the modal disables all interaction outside of itself and doesn't handle keyboard focus properly, this can lead to a keyboard trap. This user might find that pressing the tab key keeps cycling them through elements within the modal, unable to close the dialog or move focus away from it, resulting in a frustrating experience. Just as a simple example, you would usually implement something like this: escape makes the modal go away, just as an easy example. So to avoid creating keyboard traps in custom controls, use semantic HTML elements. Whenever possible, rely on native HTML elements like button, A, and input, because they come with built-in keyboard controls that work automatically. And if you're building custom components, ensure to mimic the expected behavior of those elements. Ensure proper focus management. Properly manage focus within your custom controls. When a dialog or dropdown is triggered, move focus to the first interactive element inside the component. After closing the component, return focus to the element that triggered it. For modals, trap the keyboard focus inside the modal while it's open to prevent users from tapping to other parts of the page. For dropdowns, ensure that when the dropdown opens, focus is placed on the first item. When the drop-down is closed, focus should return to the trigger button. Provide expected keyboard navigation, arrow keys. For elements like custom drop-downs, arrow keys are we go right over to the next article. Bing testing sticky search bar headed. Written by
It's just
Barry
a little
Schwartz.
test.
Now, Bing.
Just
Yeah,
testing stuff.
everybody talks just about Google, but Bing is
No,
important
GPU
too.
is
You
ass.
can make money there. So we want to know. I want to know. Bing, what changes, what not. It's a good market. It's easy. I always like to work on all different platforms. Because what other...
Okay. Yeah, this works. Here it works. Let's test it this way.
We go right over to the next article. Bing testing sticky search bar headed. Written by Barry Schwartz. Now, Bing. Yeah, everybody talks just
also
about Google,
extremely
but Bing
high.
is important too. You can make money there. So we
How
want to know.
inefficient
I
are
want to know.
these things?
Bing,
Insane
what changes,
to
what
see
not.
how
It's a
inefficient
good
all of
market.
that is.
It's easy.
Wow.
I always like to work
Really
on all
interesting.
different platforms. Because what others overlook can help you guys don't so let's jump right into
most
it.
likely, but this
Microsoft is testing a new search bar box
Wow.
header for the Bing search results. The Bing search bar
In these
sticks to
moments,
the
I'm
top
happy
as
that
you
I'm a total
scroll
beginner because I don't
through the
have 10,000
10,000
viewers.
Google just rolled that out a month or so ago, and now Bing is testing it. Kinda surprising that it wasn't done for so long when it's such a common thing for the headline or head menu and stuff like that to be sticky on top. But who knows? I spotted this via Sachin Patel, sorry if I butchered the name, who noted the line divider between the search bar and the results.
Well, nothing I can do about it. Sorry, guys.
About it on X, but it
Sorry.
seems the sticky
For
search
now,
bar is a test.
I'll just let it run. Nothing I can do about it. Sorry.
Happens, users are often forced to take drastic measures like refreshing the entire page
Go right
just to continue
over to the next article.
losing the place and having to start over. Bing testing sticky search bar heading with single key commands by Barry Schwartz. Play, pause, full screen, and more. Bing. These can interfere with green.
Everybody talks just about Google,
Solution.
but Bing
is important too. Always
You
preserve the fundamental
make money
and
there.
shift
So we
tab
wanna know.
functionality in
I
media
wanna know.
players, even when implementing custom keyboard
Bing,
controls for playback. Users should be able to enter the player control, interact with them as needed, and then smoothly tab away. Continue exploring the rest of the page. Disable YouTube embed keyboard shortcuts by adding a query string segment to the embed URL. That's interesting. Form elements. Date pickers and other complex form components frequently create keyboard traps. These elements often capture all keyboard events rather than just the specific keys needed for the functionality. When a keyboard user opens a date picker, they may find themselves unable to exit using the standard tab or escape key. Solution. Limit event capturing to only the specific keys needed for the component's functionality. For example, arrow keys for navigating within the calendar, enter for selecting a date, escape for closing without selection. 2. Implement proper ARIA attributes. Again, set ARIA expanded true on the date picker trigger button when the calendar is open. Update to ARIA expanded false when closed. Hyperlinks. Hyperlinks might seem straightforward, but they can create keyboard traps when improperly implemented. Developers sometimes attach event handlers to links that override standard keyboard behavior, creating accessibility barriers. Let's examine a real-world example from this GitHub test page. On this page, there are two simple hyperlinks, trap and honey. There are two links on this page. If you're using a keyboard, you won't be able to get to the second link. The key down event has been used to open a new window. When a person using a keyboard attempts to move focus away from the first link, the key down event will be triggered and the resulting function will be executed. So I click tab. Yeah, and now, yeah. True. And now whenever I get, okay, cool. When I get on trap, it immediately brings me to this page. I can't get to the honey. Again, I click on tab. I try clicking tab now again to get to honey. And I'm on this page again. Okay. That's what I mean. And now imagine, what if you're blind? How do you want to solve that problem now? When a keyboard user focuses on the first link trap and attempts to navigate away using the tab key, something unexpected happens. A keydown event triggers the opening of a new window and prevents focus from moving to the next element. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I think I should take that as a sign that for today the stream is over. As usual, the clips are online on the YouTube channel. You can see it there, the articles that I made. Sorry that we've got such a bad ending, like, sorry. Going to try solve it, see what the issue were, and what we can do to make it better and run smoother next time. But with that, I would say thank you all for the time you took for this. Everyone who was participating, watching it, thank you all. Thank you for the comments in the chat. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the subscriptions, everything. Thank you all very, very much. And with that, I wish you all the very best. Bye. Oh, wait.